We are still just slightly waiting for them to be let out of the holding area to come round and form the grid. I cannot wait for this second race weekend to get underway. Obviously we've had practice and qualifying going on since Friday, but this is where the action is, this is where the competition is, when they enter race mode and they get those helmets and their visors down and they are ready to go and itching to take a win.
I mean, this is why we're here, you know. We're not here to watch practice or qualify. We're not here to watch people do testing and, oh, I'm going to change the settings on my shocks and see if it makes me go faster. No, we're here to watch people race, and we are about to get that underway in round number 2 of the 2025 MasterMac FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship. Big grid of 17 rookie riders out there beginning their bike racing journey on the road to MotoGP. And of course, you know, some of these guys have been on a bike for barely months, if even that. Some of them maybe a little bit longer. So yes, you do have a slight experience gap in the field. You see the riders that are a bit further at front, maybe a bit more time on bikes compared to others. But at the end of the day, this is the first time that most of them are out on track racing, or the second weekend, I should say, that they're ever doing it realistically. So it's all about learning, and it's all about gaining track experience in this championship. But at the same time, you know, their races are hard. They want to go out there, they want to perform, they want to win.
Exactly, and that's what it's all about in motorbike racing. You want to perform, you want to win, you want to be the best you can be. And one of our riders in the rookies this year is Austin Baton. He's just 6 years old and has been riding on Mini Moto since 2023. It's his first full season with us at FAB-Racing this year. He was impressive when we were at Lid a couple of weeks ago, on pole a couple of times. I think he took a race win, if I'm being honest, and it's brilliant to see that he's investing himself so much into this racing series and getting his name out there in the world of motorbike racing.
Absolutely, and important to know, Austin Baton starting on pole position today as well. We also found out this weekend he started riding trials bikes and he was only 2.5 years old. I think I was still in nappies at 2.5 years old, to be honest with you, and just sat there watching telly. This lad was out there on bikes, you know, unbelievable, and he's really showing that, yes, he's still so young. He's only 6 years old, but he spent so much, over half of his life on a bike, and it really shows he is so much talent, and make sure you keep an eye on him across this season. But he's just one example, a whole host of super high potential young superstars out there, and it is going to be really interesting to see when they do hopefully go racing in just a moment's time. I think we're just having a last couple of checks on the track to make sure it's all fine before we head out, and indeed we do head out now. Yes, they are coming out onto the track now, getting ready to form the grid, ready for this first race here at Ellough Park. Now, whilst they are coming round and getting ready and getting their positions all set up, let's just run through the grid for today's race. It is the first race for them here at Ellough Park. Starting on pole position, we have number 100, Austin Baton. In second place, we have number 89, Cooper Say. Third place, we have the 76 of Zach Athasich. Fourth, we have the number 95 of Casey Reeson. Starting fifth today is Caden Bailey on the number 9. Sixth, we have number 35, Oliver Cheeseman. Seventh position, we have the 171 of Jensen Brown. Following him in eighth is the 45 of Chase Carter. Ninth place, number 77, Theo Tyler. 10th place, we have the 174 of Oakley Hipwell. Starting 11th is the number 127, Savannah Polden, who is also supported by the House of a Moto Female Championship. Starting 12th, we have the 42 of Keely Bailey. 13th, we have number 14, Liam Hayland. Starting 14th, we have the number 6 of Oscar Bond. 15th place, we have the 251 of Arlo Simmons. 16th, we have 164 of Arton Oakley, and rounding out our grid, starting 17th is the number 32 of Izzy Cook. They're just coming out now on their outlap, ready to form the grid, ready to go. It is our first race here at Ellough Park for this weekend, and I cannot wait. Oh, should be fantastic. Yeah, just underway on their sighting lap now, just making sure everything's working okay, making sure the bike feels comfortable underneath them before they get going. Must be said, Austin Baton, I wonder if a bit bit of a tactical move there. He absolutely rocketed away when they got waved around there. Oh, and someone already down. That's coming out of turn 2, should I say. Back on the bike, look okay. Can't quite tell who that is at the moment as they get going again, but good to see that they're back up and straight on the bike. Hopefully no damage either to themselves or the machinery underneath them. But as I was saying, Austin Baton, when they got waved around, he launched away. Maybe just trying to get in the heads of those around him, or maybe just really excited and wanted to get going in starting lap. Who could tell? But either way, he starts from pole. As you said, Cooper Say alongside him though. He can start quick. He should be one to watch out for, and he will have the inside as they dive to turn 1 as well.
Exactly, and these two were ones we were looking out for when we were at Lid a couple of weeks ago. The battles we were seeing between those two for that first position, they both desperately want it. They both want to have that lead in the championship, and it's all going to happen today, and we are going to be watching it firsthand here. If you are joining us now, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're just finishing up forming the grid right now. Here we go, and it's going to be an absolute brilliant start to the race weekend here at Ellough Park. I wonder what's going to happen. Let's wait and see. Just the final riders. Oh, that is someone, I believe, coming off the grid there. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. We are just waiting currently. We've got a bit of a delay happening. We will see when we are going to get this race started. Here we go, and lights out and away we go. Austin Baton has took that first place and has made a flying start to this race. Everybody's still quite bunched up, but Austin Baton absolutely flew and has taken the lead. A really big one on this track. They're just coming round. Now, they are still all quite bunched up together. We're going to have to see how this grid forms itself out and see what happens on our screens. We just saw the 89 of Cooper Say, and there we go, Austin Baton out in that first position, absolutely leading the rest of the pack. Absolute brilliant stuff to see from him.
Yeah, huge hole shot there for Austin Baton. Cooper Say, really disappointing getaway, just didn't react when the lights went out, and as a result it has cost him and given the 100 of Baton an early advantage. But it's not all done and dusted yet up the front, as there's action further back in the pack as well. Moves everywhere you look in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup, and as they come across the line, it is Baton that leads Say 1-2, able to recover after that disappointing getaway as they bomb down into turn 1 and straight back onto the accelerator and pushing down the small backstretch and sliding into turn number 2. Very, very tricky on a Mini Moto. Seen Matthew Thomas there a few years back, had a monster high side on corner exit. So you do have to be careful when you're getting onto the throttle out of there. But luckily so far, everybody looks clean. It's Baton from Say, from Zach Athasic, your top 3, but a few movers all over the grid.
Exactly, there has been quite a few moves. We've had quite a few position changes in that first lap, but absolute brilliant performance from Austin Baton off that start. He had that drive, he had himself in that right headspace, and off he went, flying ahead of everybody else, starting to get those gaps forming now. Everybody's starting to space out a bit, find their pace. We can still see Cooper Say is hunting down Austin Baton. He's not going to let him go that easily. Absolute brilliant stuff to see from him this weekend, and the first race, and he's going to do everything he can to not let Austin Baton take that first place.
There is Cooper Say, though, still putting the pressure on. Gap at the line last time was a 1.697. Visually, it, if anything, looks like it's got a little bit smaller, so it's not all done and dusted yet. The 89 still pushing hard. So they head through that tight, twisty, awkward hairpin into a chicane section before coming down in front of the paddock. Oh, there we see someone running very, very deep there into that left-hander before we get to the aforementioned hairpin into a chicane section. You can see there with that shot, just look at the undulation, look how the track rises and then falls with the camber. I guess they say the best racetracks are shaped by the landscape around them, and that is very much the same here, as there we see moves being made way down into Paddock Bend. Lovely stuff there up the inside before they get going. Once again, that looked like that was the number 9 of Caden Bailey getting through Theo Taylor on the 777. Or just the double 7, should I say. And indeed it was, with 5 laps left to run in this one. And the top guys still very much in a stalemate. Baton leads by 1.5 seconds.
He does, and what a brilliant race we are seeing so far. You can tell how excited all of these guys racing in the AC40 rookies were to be that first race, to get back out on track. At the moment, we have got 5 laps left to go. Leading ahead of everyone is Baton on the number 100. Second place, we have Say on the number 89. And rounding out our top 3 is still Zach Athasich. Very similar thing to what happened at Lid. These guys ahead of the pack, fighting for those podium positions. On our screens now, we are seeing some of the guys in the rest of the pack as they are coming round the track and making their way round with just 4 laps left to go here at Ellough Park. And we're going to have to see what happens. Just at the front of our screens there, we just saw the number 14 of Liam Hayland leading ahead of Oscar Bond in 14th place and Arlo Simmons in 15th.
Absolutely. Austin Baton continues to lead up the front, pick up the second race weekend of the year as he started the first with a win in race number 1, but not over just yet. Still time for changes to happen. That was Savannah Polden and Oakley Hipwell we just saw going through there. They are P9 and P10. Following them, Keely Bailey and Chase Carter, 11th and 12th on the 42 and the 45 respectively. As they come to the line, a few more riders further back in the pack just making their way around, still testing the conditions, still gaining confidence on the bike. There is your race leader, and the gap now, Izzy, down to less than half a second on the line. Cooper Say's made up huge time in the last couple of laps and now is right all over the exhaust of Baton in the lead.
He's going to know there are only a few laps left to go of this first race, and he's going to make a move when he can. They're just coming back past some traffic right now. Cooper Say is hot on the tail of Austin Baton. 3 laps left to go. This is quite a good battle we've got on our hands. He is pushing that bike to its limits, getting everything he can out of it, wanting to take that position away. They've just coming through that chicane now, coming down towards the final corners of the track, leading down to 2 laps left to go.
Absolutely. Fastest lap of the race so far, Zach Athasich in, or no, should I say it is in fact Austin Baton, a 101.194. Cooper Say very close to the 101.367, having to negotiate their way through the traffic. Baton gets through cleaner than Say does and sets another fastest lap on that occasion, a 1 minute dead, 0.944, little way off of the lap record that was set last year by Tommy Williams in the final round, but still pushing on and still riding incredibly well. And Cooper Say, yeah, real shame, got held up a little bit there. Still time though, 1.5 laps left to go. What does the 89 have in his locker to try and slide through and take a race 1 win? Or is it too little too late?
He's going to be very unhappy. He did just get stuck in that traffic because that can affect their race entirely. He was very close to being right near the point where he could pass Baton, but that traffic held him up, stopped him. They are just coming round into the final corner now, and we're going to be beginning the final lap of this first race of the AC40 rookies here at Ellough Park. Here we are, last lap beginning. Austin Baton is absolutely leading ahead of everyone else, but Cooper Say he's going to try his best during this last lap to catch up with Austin Baton and try and take that first position away from him. Running in third currently is still Zach Athasich, but last lap, let's see what Cooper Say can do to catch up with Austin Baton. We're very close to nearing the end of this race now, but they're coming up to some more traffic. We just saw it ahead of them there on the camera. Going to be interesting to see if they get a bit caught up here. Baton coming past though, making his way round the track, ready to finish this race and take that first place again.
Little bit of traffic in front though. Could there be late drama? Baton gets through one okay. Does he get through the other? Being held up big time. Is this an opportunity for Cooper Say? Perhaps it is, because they're getting very, very tight. into the final corner. Almost contact between Say and some lap traffic. It's going to have to be a drag race. Almost contact between the leaders. Traffic causes chaos as we come to the line. It will be Austin Baton that takes the win, but only by a 1/10 of a second. Goodness me, that got close late in the day. Once again, a little bit of traffic getting involved, and it was almost curtains for Austin Baton as Cooper Say threw everything he had at that last gasp opportunity. But unfortunately, it wasn't to be for the 89. It is Austin Baton that takes victory in race 1. Cooper Say will be P2, and Zach Athasic rounding out the podium himself, only 2/10 clear of Casey Reese in P4. The rest of the riders still yet to finish, but Jensen Brown comes home 5th, Oliver Cheeseman in 6th, and Caden Bailey set to finish 7th, Theo Tyler 8th, Savannah Polden 9th, and Oakley Hipwell in P10. Looks like Caden Bailey actually dropped down into 8th place there. That's a real shame for him, but that's your top 10, and that is race 1 done in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup, brought to you by Grassroots to Grand Prix.
Ross, I think that first race just proved everything we were saying. You never know what to expect here at Ellough Park. That bit of traffic they got caught up in on that last lap nearly cost Baton his win. Cooper Say nearly took it off him. There was nearly a touch, nearly a crash. Very, very, very interesting race that was just. And I think that's setting us up for the day. We're not going to know what to expect. Anything can happen here at Ellough Park. And we're going to have to see what happens coming round now into the Holden.
Coming up now, it is time for our combined AC40 Pros and LC40 Elite classes, and it should be very interesting to see what's going to happen here. Of course, 2 different categories on track at the same time, and both of the bikes look very, very similar. So, can be a little bit difficult to wrap your head around. All you need to know, the AC40 Pros, the air-cooled bikes, the LC40 Elites, the liquid-cooled bikes, a little bit quicker. Of course, they were separate classes last year, even though you were allowed to race your AC40 bike in the LC40 category. This year, they've been combined. We've now got the new AC40 Inter class as well, that intermediate class with the 12mm exhaust restrictor on it. Here in the AC40 Pros, they have the 14mm exhaust restrictor, just to make it all a little bit more confusing. But nonetheless, it does offer some fantastic, fantastic racing, and it gives a chance to show as well 2 different classes. Although, yes, on track where they finish in regards to each other, it doesn't matter. The riders seemingly don't really care because they're going to race each other all the way to the checkered flag.
They are indeed. I mean, what happened at Lyd, and I think we're going to be seeing the same this weekend, looking at our starting grid, which we will run you through very shortly. Our 2 guys running on the liquid cool bikes, Maxwell Keats and Jensen Sadras, do tend to be ahead of the pack a little bit, in front of everyone else who are running the air-cooled bikes. But we will have to see what happens. Let's have a look now. They are just coming into the holding area now before they come round to the grid and start their out lap before their race begins. The first race for them here at Ellough Park this weekend. Going to be very interesting if it's anything like the race we just happened.
As the riders then getting ready to head out onto the grid before they get their sighting lap going. It looks like we've got a 10-bike grid heading into this one. Of course, 2 of those being the liquid-cooled, the elite bikes, and then 8 of them being the air-cooled variants. So, as they come out now onto the grid before their sighting lap.
Yeah, here they are now coming out onto the grid. Let's just give you a run through of who's starting where for this race of the AC40 Pro and LC40 Elite. Now, we've got 5 rows. Making up our first row is the number 24 of Maxwell Keats and the number 2 of Jensen Sadras, both running those liquid cool bikes. 3rd place is Henry Brody. Following him in 4th is Tommy Williams. In 5th, we have Joey Athasic. In 6th, we have Emerson Oakley. 7th, Danny Longhurst. 8th, Claudia Dudman. 9th, Ethan Bayliss. And 10th, Oliver Wilson. They are just waiting now to be allowed, and here we go. They are starting their out lap, ready to come back round and make up their grid before the race begins for them.
Absolutely. So just to remind you again, Maxwell Keats on pole overall and in the LC40 Elite class. Henry Brody just behind him in P3. He starts on pole in the AC40 Pro class. So just keep your eye on those two. Again, we're expecting the LC40 Elites to be a little bit up the road in this one, so to speak. They will just have that slight pace advantage. I don't particularly think, unless someone has a monster of a weekend, we're going to be seeing anybody from the air cool class battling those in the liquid cool class. But you never know. Again, Ellough Park always serves up a surprise. But we are expecting the front pair on the grid to pull away from a little bit, as there was someone stopping at the top end of the track. It was indeed, and I tell you what, that might be our pole sitter, Maxwell Keats, who's just come grinding to a halt. And indeed it is. What has happened there? The 24 of Maxwell Keats comes to a stop. He was on pole overall, pole in the liquid cool class, and it could be race over before we even get going.
That he'll be feeling very disappointed if that is the case, Ross. We're just going to have to wait and see. All the other riders now just coming up round from the end of round the track to make up the grid. They are coming back round. We can still see on our screens Maxwell Keats, who was our pole sitter, just waiting to see if he can get that bike restarted to come round to pole and hopefully be able to start this race.
Yeah, fingers crossed, because otherwise it's going to be quite boring in the LC40 Elites with only Jensen Cedras going around on his own. I mean, it's a free race win for him, I suppose, presuming he can finish the race. Touch wood, don't want anything to happen, but you never know. But yeah, problems there for Maxwell Keats. And that is a real shame for him. And Jensen Cedras will be going round on his own by the looks of things. Yeah, that looks like it's curtains for Maxwell Keats. Jensen Cedras, an unscheduled test session, and I'm presuming he finishes a free 25 points heading his way. That's a real shame for Maxwell Keats, but again, those Mini Motos, they're temperamental at the best times, and it is really warm this weekend, is it? It's been causing havoc all across the paddock. Exactly.
Speaking to so many riders today, they've all been talking about the mechanical issues they've been facing since they got here at the beginning of the weekend. So it does mean we do not have our pole sitter Maxwell Keats there anymore. Jensen Cedras on his own on that front row, running by himself in the AC40 classes, but on the second row, third place, we have Henry Brody on that AC40 bike, and we know they're going to take everything they can out of this bike. And we're just waiting now, and it is lights out and away we go here at Ellough Park. Second race of the AC40 Pros. Out in front is that number 2 of Jensen Cedras on the LC40. Following him is the number 51 of Tommy Williams. He has taken a place from Henry Brody. He's now running in second, leading the AC40s in this race.
Yeah, lovely little start there from Tommy Williams. Just got the inside line. Brody tries to fight back on the inside into turn 3. Doesn't quite come into fruition on that occasion, but it was a good attempt nonetheless. But yeah, really, really clean getaway there from Tommy Williams. Just slid up the inside, took the position into turn 1, easy as you like, but it was nice racecraft nonetheless. Already some battles, some duels forming out on the racetrack as Jensen Cedras, our sole LC40 bike, leads them away at the front, already starting to break away ever so slightly, but there are battles going on behind him. That is going to cost those behind him time. So Cedras leads the way, the sole liquid cool bike in this battle for the lead of the AC40 Pro class. It will be Tommy Williams and Henry Brody, who look like they are getting ready for a titanic tussle out there, because Brody, he's not taking that fact that he lost it down into turn 1. He is pushing Tommy Williams hard.
He is. Oh, is he going to look to make a move? Williams looked over his shoulder then, saw Brody coming right up the inside. Oh, and he's made the move and has taken that second place position back from Tommy Williams. Williams isn't going to be very happy about that, and he's going to be chasing Brody down to take that position back again. Out in front, we still have Jensen Cedras on the LC40 Elite. Set a fastest time of 57.017. We've got 8 laps left to go, and what a race we are seeing so far.
Absolutely. As they come to the line once again, Brody now leads in the AC40 Pro class in second overall from Tommy Williams. And then Joey Aftersic now up into P3 in class. So he's been making some moves on the number 67 and will slide on by. Nice stuff from him to get up into the podium places in class. A little bit of a check back there as they head onto the straight. That is Emerson Oakley, the 63, just having a little look back once again, as we've been reminding you all race long. It is Jensen Cedras who is the only LC40 elite bike out there. The 23 of Henry Brody leads the way in the AC40 Pro class. 7 laps left to go in this one. Should be a very, very interesting battle. Yes, we've got fights all over the field in the AC40 Pros, but at the front, Brody and Williams looking like they're running very similar pace.
They are. I mean, looking at the times on the sheet, Brody's just done a 55.396 with Williams close on his tail with a 55.687. Brilliant stuff we are seeing from these riders in the AC40 Pro class. Like Ross was saying, with the 14mm on their exhaust. Here we can see Henry Brody on that 23 coming round. He knows he's leading the AC40 Pros right now. He's not that worried about Cedras on the LC40. They're two different classes currently, but coming round into that chicane, absolutely, he looks very comfortable there on his bike, comfortable with the lead he has. He's aware Williams is going to be on his tail, wanting to take the second place back from him, but first in the AC40. But he just looks comfortable. There we see the number 2. That is our race lead at the moment. Jensen Cedras now alone in the LC40 after, unfortunately, Maxwell Keats could not start the race. But he's very comfortable. He knows he's happy right now.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of an unscheduled test session, unfortunately, and I don't mean that in a bad way at all, but when you're in a 2-bike race and one of the bikes can't start, it's a bit like, oh, okay then, but, you know, he's going to run around anyway. He's going to get some time on the track, time on the bike. I'm sure he's having great fun while he's doing it, and again, presuming he completes the next 4.5 laps with no issues, it's a free 25 points over his rival, so, you know, you may as well go around and have some fun while you're doing it. But yeah, as we were expecting, that liquid cooled bike just a lot faster than everyone else. The gap was 3.9 seconds back to Brody in P2 overall. He leads in the AC40 Pros, of course. So Cedras, yeah, unscheduled test session, but having fun nonetheless, and, you know, still putting in performance. He's actually, I think he's just running quali laps at the moment, because he's set another fastest lap for himself, 54.244, running really, really quickly at the moment. Again, conditions not quite favourable as Brody with a big off and into the tyre barriers. A high side sends Brody down, but he's straight up onto his feet, which is exactly what you want to see, but quickly losing the bike. Wow, great to see that he's up and okay, but man, oh man, the 23 just went for a ride. That was big. Looks like Tommy Williams will inherit that P1 in the AC40 Pros. Henry Brody, what a shame. He was running so well up in the lead.
Right now we are seeing Claudia Dudman running at P6 with Longhurst right on their tail. Very interesting stuff to see in the middle of the pack running. And now we have Tommy Williams out leading the AC40s. This is currently our battle a little bit further back in the pack. These guys pulling everything they can from their bikes. Little look over the shoulder, knows that Longhurst is right on their tail, but doesn't want to let them past. Crikey, we are seeing some brilliant battles happening today so far, and we're only in the second race. The numbers 28 and 26 right in a battle there, and have been, I think, for quite a while in the race.
Absolutely. Claudia Dudman and Danny Longhurst, two of our supremely talented young female riders here. Of course, they are also competing in the All-Rider All-Series Championship, the House of Moto Cup, the first ever established grassroots trophy for women in bike racing. And they'll be trying to pick up some good points for that, not just for their hopes in this championship, but of course for the All-Rider competition, supported by the House of Moto as well. There is Jensen Cedras in a world of his own. 9.6 seconds was the gap back to Tommy Williams. That is ridiculous pace. He has really, really been pushing hard. I got to commend that again. He's the only bike in this race in the LC40 Elites. All he needed to do was get on and cruise round, but he's got out there and he has attacked Ellough Park circuit, just going for personal best after personal best and running super, super consistent lap times all within a tenth or two of each other in the mid 54 second range. So doing an incredible job out there. And again, very well deserved of the 25 points he's going to pick up at the end of this one. Tommy Williams, again, a bit of a disappointing end to that battle with Henry Brody going down. He is okay. He's just sat at the side of the racetrack at the moment, but he's up on his feet, and that's the main thing. And again, disappointing that that's the way that battle came to an end. But Tommy Williams doing a fantastic job, it must be said, as they go on to the final lap of the race. Cedras and Williams, the two race leaders in our two classes, now in a world of their own, but justifiably so.
Exactly, like Tommy Williams, although Henry Brody had that crash, Tommy Williams is going to be so pleased with himself to be having that first place position in the AC40 class. We are on our last lap right now. Jensen Cedras leading on that liquid cool bike in a world of his own, way far ahead of everybody else. We are coming now to the final moment of this race today. He's coming past some traffic right now. Here he is, our race leader, Jensen Cedras, coming round that final corner, and it's the checkered flag. Jensen Cedras wins today here in that first race of the AC40 Pro LC40 Elite class. Coming round over the line soon will be Tommy Williams on the AC40, and there he is, second overall, but first for the AC40 Pro. Absolute brilliant racing we have just seen from all involved. Unfortunate for Henry Brody having that crash. We are absolutely brilliant stuff. Let's run through our top 10. In first place was Jensen Cedras winning. In second place we had Tommy Williams. Third place we had Joey Atasic. In fourth place we had Emerson Oakley. Fifth we had Danny Longhurst. Sixth we had Claudia Dudman. Seventh was Ethan Bayliss. Eighth was Oliver Wilson. Ninth, unfortunately, was Henry Brody, and Keats, unfortunately, did not start the race, so finishes 10th overall.
Oh, Jensen Cedras as he crossed the line with some mind games, psychological warfare. He was the only LC40 elite in that race, and he still hit him with the "you can't see me" as he crosses the line. Man, oh man. Talk about making a statement. What a race we've just seen. Yes, there may have only been one bike in the LC40 Elite, but it was a performance and a half, a ride and a half from Jensen Cedras, and then some great battles in the AC40 Pros as well. So lots to look forward to as we head into race 2 and race 3 tomorrow. Time for the big boys on the little bikes. Time for a race that many see as the highlight of the weekend. It is the Senior Mini Motos, and it's an unfamiliar face starting on pole position this weekend because it's not Matt Birkin. Instead, we've got Reece Gentry on the 100 starting from pole position. That's the first time in a long time, I think, we've not had a Birkin starting from the pole. So very, very interesting there. Of course, Matt Birkin, a circuit that historically hasn't been very kind to him, but he's still starting on the front row, and we know what he can do out on the track. But as always, Izzy, a huge grid of riders here, 15 of them going out there and showing us what they can do. And of course, it's the Senior Mini Motos. They're going to be having fun and going a little bit wild while they're doing it. Yeah, definitely. And we saw that lid. It was absolute brilliant stuff from them whilst we are there. They are coming out now of the holding area to come round onto the grid ready to do their outlaw. Let's do a quick run through of where everybody's going to be starting today. Starting from pole position, as Ross just said, is Reece Gentry. In second place we have Matt Birkin. Third place Callum White. Fourth place Mark Payne. Fifth place Keaton Payne. Sixth place David Myatt. In seventh we have Lamar Morgan. Eighth we had Chris Yeomans. Ninth Andy Weedon. In 10th we have Nick Bennett. 11th Gary Eldridge. 12th Harvey Jeremy. 13th Steve Johns. 14th Peter Appleton, and rounding out our grid in 15th is Rob Gentry. Yeah, a little bit of confusion there, it looks like, as they pull into the grid before we get going on our sighting lap. I think they were just a bit mixed up and no one quite knows where they are. But I'm sure we're going to get there fine. They're having a stern word from the flag marshal who's telling them to sort themselves out, or we'll just send you home because, you know, at the end of the day, the Senior Mini Motos, sometimes they can be a bit of trouble for the stewards. as to try and figure out what they're doing. I have seen them literally just pulling each other along before as someone grabs onto the rear of the fairing and just dragging themselves along the straight, or indeed pulling them backwards as well. Oh, just crazy, these guys. But yeah, very interesting dynamic. First time in a long time we've not had a Birkin start from pole. Rhys Gentry on the 100. A great qualifying from him. And yeah, taking pole position by 1/10 of a second as well. So great job from him. And it is great to see as well Lamar Morgan out there in P7. Lamar, of course, a real staple face of the senior mini motos, but he's been suffering from quite a serious illness over the past few months. He tried to race at Lid, unfortunately wasn't able to, but he's here today, starting from P7. What a fantastic story, Lamar. We're all rooting for you this weekend, and we will send you all of our best here.
Yeah, it's brilliant to see him back here at Ellough Park, back with Fab for the senior mini moto. They are just coming around into the final corners now of their outlap, ready to get the third race of the day underway. Senior mini moto, it's like wacky races. You never really know what is going to happen at all with these guys. Like Ross just said, they'll sometimes pull each other along, and it's absolute madness. So we are just getting ready for this race to start, and we'll see what happens with these guys.
Well, expect the unexpected. That's one thing I've learned from watching senior mini moto racing across the years. All the riders making their way into the grid spots. Matt Birkin on your left starts second. Rhys Gentry starts from pole. On your right-hand side, it'll be all eyes to the red lights. It is lights out. We're underway. Great launch from the 100 of Rhys Gentry. Looks like David Myatt got away really poorly, and Matt Birkin will fall down into P3, actually, briefly there as they got to the exit. In fact, it was Mark Payne who got away disappointingly. David Myatt briefly taking second, but it was Rhys Gentry with the whole shot down into turn one and already trying to build that gap. Can anybody close up to the back of him as they make their way now through the middle sector, through the tight and twisty sections? There's someone pulling off there with issues in the background. Hopefully everything okay. Oh, a bit of a wobble there from Gentry as he comes into the hairpin. Looks for the most part all clean though on lap number one, and as I say that, rider down. Who is that that's gone down? That was the race leader, Rhys Gentry, the number 100 from the lead of the race. Oh, typical senior mini motos. You get pole position, you stack it immediately.
Yeah, we have now got Matt Birkin leading these guys today here in the first race. What on earth happened there to Rhys Gentry, we do not know, but currently Matt Birkin leading this race with David Myatt in second and Mark Payne hot on David's tail for that second position. These guys are absolutely ruthless with each other. They do everything they can to get what they can out of these bikes in senior mini moto. And crikey, absolute mad stuff we are seeing today. Matt Birkin, though, now that Rhys Gentry did have that little incident, has got his lead and is spreading out and moving quite far away from everybody else.
That being said, though, if I trust anybody else on this grid to crash out from the lead of the race, it is Matt Birkin. So you never know what's going to happen. It could be David Myatt leading very, very shortly if we all keep going, as there's battles everywhere. You look up and down the pack. Looks like Rhys Gentry has been able to get going again. Looks like as well on lap number one, it was Nick Bennett on the 711 with those mechanical issues. Real shame for him, a mighty fine rider. And in fact, there he is as he's mournfully bringing his bike into in between some tyre barriers and slowly wheels it a long way back to the paddock. That's a real shame for Nick Bennett. Luckily, there's still 2 laps left to go this weekend. It's definitely not Gary Eldridge, I can tell you that much. Matt Birkin still leads from David Myatt in P2 and Mark Payne rounding out the podium. Huge battle at the moment between Myatt and Payne, who was feeling very confident going into this weekend. Was Payne. Bit of a move being launched there. That looks like that was Callum White retaking the position from Keaton Payne. I believe they swapped earlier in the lap. Just confirm that in a moment, and indeed, yeah, that is what has happened. Callum White on the 322 back in front of Keaton Payne, and they'll have to push onwards now, try and swap again.
Absolutely, Ross. 6 laps left to go, and Matt Birkin leading, a massive gap ahead of everyone else. But here is our battle for second place. Currently, we've got David Myatt ahead of Mark Payne. Absolutely brilliant stuff to be seen from them. David Myatt building up a bit of a gap now. Oh, who is that who has just come off there? I do believe that's
Mark Payne. That's the 18.
Oh, that is our battle between them two over currently. Lots of issues we are seeing here today for everybody so far. We are only on our third race of the day, and we are seeing mechanical issues everywhere, but Matt Birkin, 6 laps left to go, leading ahead of everybody else.
It's not over till it's over, though. Plenty of time for things to go wrong, and plenty of time for time to be made and lost in this one. Birkin leads from Maya. It'll be Keaton Payne, I believe, that now inherits P3, and indeed he does. Callum White up to P4, so one of those two is going to be on for a podium, a lucky podium, but never complain, a podium nonetheless, and I'm sure they'll be delighted with that one. What a way to kickstart the weekend. But who will be there? Will it be Payne? Will it be Callum White? Will it be somebody else? Chris Yeomans, Andy Weedham not too far away, as we've got a monster battle going on here. This is Yeomans, Weedham, Gentry and Lamar Morgan as well. Gentry negotiating his way back through. And this, if he manages to get through Chris Yeomans, promote him back up into 5th place. He's been on an absolute charge as the number 100, the pole man. A recovery ride, unfortunately for him, but a recovery ride executed in some style with a lovely move into Paddock Bend. It's Rhys Gentry up to P5.
Absolute brilliant stuff we are seeing from Rhys Gentry today. He knows that shouldn't have happened what happened earlier, and he's just put on his racing mode, and he's fighting and picking his way past everybody else to try and get him to the battles for those top spots again. We have 4 laps left to go. Matt Birkin still leading ahead of everyone else. There is the number 100 of what was our pole sitter, Rhys Gentry, making his way back round the track, trying to catch up, to try and get himself involved in these battles for the possibility of a position on the podium. Brilliant stuff we are seeing from him. Great recovery after his little incident earlier. And here he comes now round through the chicane. Oh, he's having a little look down then. Could there be something happening there, or was he just having double check? We don't know. 4 laps left to go. Now down to 3 as Matt Birkin just comes over the start-finish line, leading ahead of David Moyer and Keaton Payne, who is now up in 3rd. Following him in 4th is Callum White. Rhys Gentry back up in 5th, closing down that gap on all the others.
There might be an opportunity for a podium here for Rhys Gentry if he's lucky, because Keaton Payne and Callum White have both caught up to the back of David Meyer, and we've started to see a 3-way battle taking place. You could just see there just in front of Gentry up the road on the racetrack. So if they keep losing time on the last lap, it might be a slim opportunity, but it's an opportunity nonetheless. And the number 100 could be looking at a recovery ride from the pole to down to back onto the podium in the space of a handful of minutes. What a story that would be to kickstart his weekend. But is it too little too late? Has time run out? It's about to be 2 laps left to run for these guys as Matt Birkin begins the penultimate lap of the race. Those in front, Maya, Payne, Callum White, still a second and a bit up the road from Gentry. As there we see Yeomans and Morgan continuing to do battle. Of course, Lamar Morgan on his return to FAB-Racing this weekend. Does he spy a move to the inside? No, not quite for the 216, but just trying to get in the head, trying to get in the space just behind Chris Yeomans, see if he can maybe force him into making a mistake.
You cannot fault Lamar so far in this first race. Started P7 and has held on to that position throughout the whole race duration so far. We have still got 2 laps left to go. Matt Birkin leading ahead of everybody else. The pack has spread out a bit, but we need to wait and see if Rhys Gentry, with just 1.5 laps left to go, can catch up with the others. We are on beginning our final lap now. There is our race leader, Matt Birkin, who took that lead after Matt Birkin had his off and has absolutely flown with it, coming past some traffic now, coming past that bash traffic and making his way around the track on this final lap. Brilliant stuff we have seen from Matt Birkin in race 1 today. He got that lead, got comfortable with it and hasn't let it go.
I mean, I know I like to joke about the Birkin boys and their crashing and their antics, but of course, Matt is certainly a fine rider. Yes, he's the reigning champion, but you just watch the way he rides a Mini Moto out on the track. It looks so effortless. It's just this beautiful riding style. And again, already waving to the crowd. Yes, the antics are still there. He's probably heard me talking about him and got upset about me being nice to him for a change. But it's so beautiful. And it's moments like this where you really realise just how good he is. It is Matt Birkin who dominates in race number 1. The reigning champion with a fantastic victory as David Meyer and Keaton Payne round out the podium places. Callum White will hold on to P4, but only by less than a second from Rhys Gentry, who unfortunately ran out of time there at the end to try and make his way onto the podium on his recovery ride. But Matt Birkin, the racing's done. Now he can begin the antics, begin the showboating. A wonderful ride to win by 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, just coming round now on a cool down lap, having a bit of a laugh, having a bit of a joke with the other riders, and absolute brilliant stuff from him. Let's have a look at who came where today. First place we had Matt Birkin. Following him in second was David Meyer. Third place was Keaton Payne. Fourth place Callum White. Fifth place was Rhys Gentry. Sixth was Chris Yeomans. Seventh Lamar Morgan. Eighth Andy Whedon. Ninth Gary Eldridge. 10th Steve Johns. 11th Harvey Jeremy. 12th Peter Appleton. 13th Rob Gentry, and we did have 2 did not finishes, which was Mark Payne and Nick Bennett.
Yeah, real shame for those two, but a really fascinating race for us to sink our teeth into. And boy, oh boy, race 2 and 3 tomorrow are sure to be exciting because Rhys Gentry looks quick, Matt Birkin looks hungry, and a lot of riders out there trying their luck and putting in some fantastic performances. 2 more races to come on Sunday for the senior Mini Motos.
We are getting ready now for our 4th race of the day, which is the AC40 Inters, sponsored by Britson Electrical Services. They are just in our holding area now, waiting here at Ellough Park to come out onto the grid, form it, go on an outlap, and then get the racing underway. It's going to be really interesting. We spoke to a few of these guys earlier, Nelly Nooth, and she's looking forward to today.
Yeah, Nooth starting from pole, which will be really interesting because last year Ellough Park was very much a bogey track for Nooth. Of course, we came here twice and it really dented her championship hopes both times. That's why that championship in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup between herself, that huge battle between herself and Emilio Pereira, went down to the very final race. Of course, yes, she was victorious in that final race. Had it not been for the fact that we went to Ellough Park twice, I think she'd have won it a little bit earlier because she just struggled both times we came here. But clearly had a Weetabix this morning, and whatever issues she had with the Suffolk racing circuit last time round, she's got over because she starts on pole position, and a very solid pole position at that 0.3 of a second quicker in qualifying than her nearest competitor. So we'll wait to see if she can translate that pace across into the race. But as you said, Izzy, you spoke to her earlier today, she feels confident, she feels happy on the bike, she's ready to go racing again.
Yeah, and I think it helped the brilliant start she had at Lyd at the beginning of the season the other week. She absolutely dominated there, boosted her confidence. We're starting to see a little bit of wind pick up here at Ellough Park track. Interesting, could mix things up even more than they already have today.
Absolutely. If you look when we're coming through Paddock Bend in a little moment's time on the sighting lap, or even when they're coming out to the grid, in fact, you'll see there's loads of flags around there. It's a really good indicator to see what the wind's doing, and it is definitely picked up, actually giving not quite a full-on headwind, but a slight headwind heading into Paddock Bend. So if you're smart, you might be able to brake just that little bit later, use that wind to your advantage if it is strong enough to try and gain on your opponents. But again, I'm not sure the angle is actually quite right to really gain an advantage anywhere. It's the wind's blowing in the one direction where you're not really getting a headwind, you're not really getting a tailwind anywhere, it's just windy. So that's going to be normal. There you can see the one of the flags flapping away in the breeze, getting quite aggressive. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. Just a small delay here, but looks like we're about to get going on our way to the grid in just a short moment. And indeed we are. Here come the riders out to the grid. Riders then making their way to the grid before the sighting lap here in the Brits Electrical Services AC40 Inter class. This new class in 2025, what separates them from the Rookies Cup and the Pros? Oh, it's the intermediate. Instead of a 10mm or 14mm exhaust restrictor, we got a 12mm exhaust restrictor. But a big grid full of big names. Yes, only 8 riders out there, but it's 8 riders who are very hungry and potential superstars in the making. Just want to give a quick note, actually, just while I saw something on there. Very strict instructions from race control came in just before we started racing today. You are absolutely not allowed to angle your bike whatsoever in your grid box. You sometimes see it, you angle your bike to cover your opponents, see if you can cut them across down into turn 1. Absolutely no chance. Those are the orders from up above in race control. It's not going to happen at all.
No, it's not. Let's just do a run through of our starting grid today. Pole position, we have Nelly Nuth. In second place, we have Finley Styles. Third, Noah Barfoot. Fourth, Austin Dilks. Fifth, Randy Carter. Sixth, Freddie Taylor. Seventh, Reed Saxelby. And eighth, Seth James. That is our grid for today. 4 rows, 8 riders all together. 9 laps in this first race of the AC40 Inters. Going to be very interesting to see what happens with these lot. They are just coming through that chicane now, making their way down to the bottom of the track before coming back round, ready to form their starting grid.
Absolutely. We'll have to wait and see what's going to unfold, but Nuth looks confident, feels confident, and the lap times of qualifying speaks for itself as well. But can she translate that into race pace? Again, she struggled in all 6 of the races that she took part in here last year. Yes, it was wet in round 2, and we know she has her struggles in the rain as well, but even at the final round with the championship on the line, when you really need to deliver, didn't quite go so smoothly. Yes, she was able to grab that championship, but it didn't all go to plan, and it nearly all came undone in the very final race of the season. But she starts from pole and looks like she's gotten over those issues, but a very strong grid around her. Let's see if anyone can challenge the young superstar that is Nelly Nuth. It'll be red lights on, red lights off, and we go racing. Great launch for the 44 away from pole, who will keep the lead down into turn 1 up the inside. That looks like it was Randy Carter who made some big moves early doors down into turn number 1 as they head through turn 2. Look at the gap that Nuth is building already. It's quite clear what her game plan in this one is. It's just to book the ticket, check out as soon as you can, and let them all fight behind you. Build up enough of a gap that you're not going to face any pressure.
Yeah, also a brilliant start for Noah Barfoot, who started in 3rd but has got up to 2nd on the grid currently in this first lap. Like you said, though, everybody puts the most power they can during their start, and it's absolutely brilliant to see. Here they are now coming around the final corner of this first lap, coming around to get ready to start lap number 2 of this race. A little bit of a battle going on there, and here we go. That is the number 19 of Finley Styles wanting to make a move on Noah Barfoot and take that 2nd place position back from him that he stole at the start of this race. We have got 8 laps left to go in this AC40 Inter race number 1. Hot on the tail, though, of Finley Styles is Austin Dilks on number 85. He has started brilliantly as well.
Absolutely. This is playing perfectly into Nelly Nuth's hands as well as they start to battle for the final podium places. She can just streak away at the front. Again, it was what she was so used to doing last year in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup. I mean, so many times we know she's very good at starts. A lot of times last year she was too good, ended up with a jump start penalty, but because everyone was fighting behind her, she was so far up the road it didn't even matter. I think she probably got a record of some description for how many jump start penalties she would have got. As down into turn 1, here looks Finley Styles again to the inside as both 2nd and 3rd place. Huge chattering on the front end of the bike. Styles to the inside. That's a lovely move. Slides it through and up into 2nd place. Noah Barfoot, can he hold on to 3rd? Will he drop another position? Austin Dilks unable to slide through, so he will hold on to a podium place for the time being. But it is once again Finley Styles who's slides up into second with a brilliant move up the inside.
Yeah, Finley Styles, now that he has got past Noah Barfoot, is making a bit of a gap. I thought we could have been having a three-way battle on our hands here for the second position, but now that Finley Styles has got through on Barfoot, he's going to look to be chasing down Nelly Noose. Now he's not being held up really by anybody anymore, and he has that time to focus on that track in front of him and catch up with Nelly.
Absolutely. Will he have the pace to do so? We'll have to wait and see. 6 laps left to run in this one. This time it will be Austin Dilks who goes up the inside of Noah Barfoot, who in the space of almost a lap has lost 2 positions, almost to the corner in fact, and now drops out of the podium places. Real shame for the 36, but a nice move from the 85 to get up into 3rd place. Well then, 6 laps left to go. Styles is definitely catching Nelly Nuth. Fastest lap last time for Styles, a 54.648. We'll have to wait and see if that pace translates into manoeuvrability, because there's one thing to catch a rider in front, very much another thing to overtake. Let's see what the number 19 has in his locker when he gets to the back of Nelly Nuth.
Exactly, we're just going to have to wait and see. 6 laps left to go. Well, 5.5. His fastest lap currently is with Finley Styles. Absolutely brilliant stuff, a 54.648 from him. He is hunting Nelly down and he isn't stopping anytime soon. That gap is getting smaller and smaller between these guys. 5 laps left to go of this first race here at Ellough Park. Brilliant stuff we are seeing from Finley Styles. He has absolutely got his head down, got into race mode and doing everything he can to catch up with Nelly, closing that gap down on her and going to try and take that first place away from her.
Pink leathers on Nuth, red leathers on Styles, who will be on top at the end of this one. I wonder, in fact, if Styles may have actually just eased off a little bit, because it looked like he got out of the throttle a little early for that big left-hander back there coming into the hairpin section. And I wonder if maybe he's just sitting, watching, calculating, figuring out where he's quicker than Nuth and how he can get the moves done. Smart riding by the number 19, but Nuth continues to push on. 4 laps left to run in this one, and we could be in for an absolute barnstormer of an ender as Nuth holds on from Styles and P2. Behind them, Dilks and Barfoot duel it out for the final podium place as well. Unfortunately, we did lose Seth James a few laps ago, so only 7 riders left in this one. But it's between Nuth and Styles for the top spot in race number 1. Styles with the faster lap, Nuth from pole position and a great start. Is anyone gonna find anything over each other? Nuth, we know, is so used to defending in situations like these. She's so used to being the one in control of the race before other people are catching up to her and she has to defend. Styles, can he find a way through the 44? 3 laps to go at the line.
Epic battle going on between these two right now. Like Ross just said, 3 laps left to go. Nuth is holding on to her lead with what she can, but there is Finley Styles in those red leathers, hot on her tail. Behind them we still have Dilks and Barfoot battling it out for that 3rd place position. Styles in that middle section seems to get that bit closer to Nuth again, and then in the last section of the track loses it a bit and has to try and gain it back. He's still going to try and do everything he can to catch up with Nelly Nuth, but she's got her fighting hat on as well, and she's not giving up first place without a battle. And here we are now, they are coming round into that last section of the track. Very tight corners, as we've been saying all day here at Ellough Park. Makes for some very good racing and some very good fighting. And they are coming round the corner, 2 laps left to go, and Nelly Nuth still leading ahead of Finley Styles. 3rd place we have Austin Dilks, and 4th place we have Noah Barfoot. Nelly holding on to dear life with this lead. She is doing everything she can with the House of Moto, as you can see on your screens right now, the highest achieving female racer award.
Yeah, Nelly, of course, the champion in its inaugural year of the All-Female Ryder Cup last season, and looking to repeat that this year. I tell you what, though, I don't think Finley Styles has pulled the pin yet. I think he's still waiting. He's running out of time, though, because we're almost on the final lap of the race. but something tells me that 19 hasn't shown us everything we've got yet. He's playing it tactical, he's playing it smart. Round the hairpin then. One tour to go in race one of the Brits and Electrical Services AC40 Inter's Nuth leads by a razor blade ahead of Finley Styles as they round turn one. Can the 19 find anything? Good drive off of the corner for the number 44, and the 19 still watching, still waiting in tow. Does Finley Styles have what it takes to get through? He's going to get a run to the outside. Nuth defends on the inside and will hold on. This is going down to the wire.
It is, like you just said, Ross. Finley Styles is closing down on Nelly Nuth with just a few corners left to go in this first race for them. We are on the last lap. Nelly Nuth absolutely leading, still ahead of Finley Styles, just sweeping round now into those last few corners. Here we go. This battle between these two has been absolutely brilliant so far. Round that last corner onto the start-finish straight, and it is Nelly Nuth who takes the win in the first race of the AC40 Inters. Closely followed though by Finley Styles. An amazing battle we have seen between these two, and there comes Noah Barfoot in third, followed by Austin Dilks. The battle between them two meant that Noah Barfoot took third place.
Well, I tip my hat to everyone in the top four. Two brilliant duels and four fantastic rides, but only three can fit onto the podium and only one can take a race win. And it was Nelly Nuth who took that in the end, with Finley Styles second and Noah Barfoot in P3. Austin Dilks was fourth with Reed Saxelby P5, Freddie Taylor sixth, Randy Carter P7. Unfortunately, we did lose Seth James in that race. Only 7 riders finishing off there. But man, oh man, what a race. We just saw a huge battle between Nuth and Styles. Another huge battle between Barfoot and Dilks as well. Sets up a very interesting precedent for the rest of the weekend. Riders taking the plaudits and the celebrations. Then there was Finley Styles just getting a quick check there by some of the marshals. Hopefully everything is all okay. But man, oh man, what a great race we have just seen. And again, 2 more to come across the rest of the weekend as well. Both coming tomorrow, but should be very exciting.
Coming up next, we are going to have the MK Mini GP70. First race for them. They will be doing 12 laps around the circuit here at Ellough Park. Very interesting stuff. We were speaking to Harrison Day earlier, who is riding in this series. Very interesting stuff we've been seeing from him. He was having some issues yesterday. Let's see if he can fix any of that today. It will be very interesting to see how he copes after his mechanical issues yesterday. Let's see what will happen.
Yeah, it should be really, really interesting. Harrison Day, a great pole position from him, but super, super tight between Frankie Watson. So it could be very, very close between those two. Again, Harrison Day, a few mechanical issues here and there across the weekend so far, but hopefully it will all be clean. But again, this is the Premier category, of course. This is the one that everyone's watching. This is the one that everybody wants to win, because it is it's the step you take before you go on to things like the British Talent Cup, and then from there you're moving onwards to things like Junior GP, Red Bull Rookies, all of those things. And so many champions in the Mini GP70s have gone on to achieve fantastic things in their career. So it is really the eyes of the world watching along as we get ready to go racing in race number 1. And quite frankly, if you read through the list of champions and race winners in this class, it honestly, it reads like a history book. So many big names in the world of bike racing all got their start here. And of course, this is the one they all want to win. It's the one the whole paddock is waiting for, and they are now making their way out onto the grid before we go on our sighting lap. It will be 11 riders out there today. That's more than enough, because this is always exciting here at Ellough Park.
It is indeed. I mean, these guys were exciting enough when we were at Lid for the season opener. They were absolutely brilliant. We are here and we are about to start race 1 for the MK Mini GP70. This is it, the road to MotoGP. This is where you want to be. Some of the biggest names started here. They are just getting ready now, waiting to head out on their out lap and their warm-up lap before this race begins for them. It's going to be some brilliant stuff we're going to see from them, as it always is, as it was at Lid at the season opener a couple of weeks ago. Let's just run through our starting grid. Starting on pole position, we have Harrison Day. Following him in second, we have Frankie Watson. In third position, we have Finley Polhill. In fourth, we have Travis Shaw. Fifth is Taylor Tomlinson. Sixth, Matthew Thomas. Seventh, Logan Cousins. Eighth, Leo Soliu. Ninth, Riley Paisley. 10th, Taylor Davis. And in 11th, we will have to wait and see who it is.
Absolutely. Should be very, very interesting indeed. Riders just making their way through the tight and twisty hairpin section now, leading out into a chicane before coming to Paddock Bend. You can see as they come through now, the flags there. Wind dropping off just a little bit since the last couple of races, but still pretty gusty out there. So should be interesting to see how that is going to affect the riders out there. Coming into position is Harrison Day, just ahead of Frankie Watson, who will slot into P2. Both of them almost inseparable out there in qualifying. Looks like we are getting ready to go race. Then looks like there is nobody in P11, I don't think. I think that might just be a glitch in our timing screen. Either way, let's get ready. It's red lights on, red lights off. What a start there from the 14 of Frankie Watson. Rockets into the lead down at turn 1. Just timed that perfectly. Harrison Day will have to settle for P2 as they're all bustling for position just behind him, looking left and right anywhere to try and gain some places. Harrison Day potentially under pressure again, this time from Travis Shaw. Could see him dropping down to third. Either way, the 14 of Frankie Watson takes the lead into turn 1.
What a brilliant start that was from Frankie, but also from Travis Shaw, getting himself up into third place from fourth. But Frankie Watson absolutely flew off that start line, taking that pole position away from Harrison Day. Looks like he might have just had a bit of pressure, just struggled a little bit with his start, but now he's getting back into the groove of things. Leading though is that number 14, Frankie Watson, out there in front, ahead of Harrison Day, who is hunting him down or wanting to battle for that first position. Here they are sweeping around now. Still in third, we have the number 4 of Travis Shaw. They are absolutely brilliantly racing right now. So good to be seen.
Yeah, looks like Harrison Day's already shaken off that shaky start because he is piling all of the pressure and then some. The 15 all over the back of the 14 of Frankie Watson. Can he try and find a way through into Paddock Bend? Not quite. A small battle forming behind as well for third place, but right now it's all eyes on the leaders. Can Frankie Watson hold on from Harrison Day as they go to make it 10 laps left to go? At the line this time, bombing down into turn 1. Day a little bit of a look. Nothing serious though. I think he's just checking, seeing if there's potentially an opportunity, but Harrison Day is not silly. He's not going to go for a move that is never going to happen and going to result in an accident. And still Frankie Watson holding on for the time being, not defending too hard either, it must be said. Quite happy just running his normal lines, quite happy doing his own thing and keeping his pace up there. He knows as well if he starts defending, that is going to cost him time, and it's potentially more likely that he'll lose out of position that way.
Yeah, 10 laps left to go for the Mini GP70, their first race here at Ellough Park. There we can see a battle for third place between the number 4 of Travis Shaw and the 199 of Finley Polhill. Those two did a swap in the first lap, and now Finley Polhill is looking to track down Travis Shaw and take that third position back off of him. 9 laps left to go. We've got an interesting battle taking place for first between Frankie Watson and Harrison Day, and one happening for third between Finley Polhill and Travis Shaw. Fastest lap just set by Frankie Watson, a brilliant 47.641. He has got that first position and he is pushing his bike to get everything he can out of it to hold on to that first position.
Surprisingly, these guys are actually getting quite close to the lap record. Everyone else has been a second, 2 seconds off. These guys only 3/10 off for the lap record set by Marco Holt back in 2022. So maybe maybe we could be seeing some new lap records falling as Harrison Day down on the front straight. His crash coming out of the final corner. I don't think he can quite believe what's happened. He's sat there with his hands on his helmet. He looks okay, he's up on his feet trying to get the bike going again, but that looks like it could be curtains for the pole sitter. I don't think he can quite believe what happens. Looks like he may have low-sided coming out of the final corner. Shades of Ben O'Keefe and Moto team last year, but that is heartbreaking stuff for Harrison Day, who was looking so mighty and challenging Frankie Watson so well after losing the lead down into turn 1 in the opening lap. With 8 laps left to go, he's down and out of race 1.
He is, but Frankie Watson is still leaving, but now the boys that were originally fighting for 3rd position are going to be fighting for that 2nd. They would have seen Harrison Day go down and now know that is up for grabs for them. Running in 2nd currently, we have the number 4 of Travis Shaw. Still hot on his tail though is the 199 of Finley Polehill. Let's keep seeing what's going to happen. Oh, they've just swapped. No way. Finley Polehill has took that 2nd position away from Travis Shaw and is actually building quite a bit of a gap ahead of him.
Absolutely ruthless from Finley Polehill, who shoved it up the inside of Travis Shaw and forced him wide and forced him to sit up and cost him time. I'm amazed he only lost 1 position out of that. That was aggressive racing. Finley Polehill, of course, on his return to FAB-Racing this weekend, missed out the opening round of Lid. Great to have him back here and great to see that he's lost none of his talent over the winter. And I tell you what, while they're fighting, Matthew Thomas and Taylor Tomlinson also getting involved. They're aware this isn't just for 3rd place, this is for 2nd now. And we've got 4 bikes duking it out on the circuit. Shaw already trying to apply pressure back onto the 99 of Finley Polehill. Can he find a way through? Not on this occasion, as look at them using all of the road and then some, almost onto the grass in that left-hander. Taylor Tomlinson sat at the back of this pack, maybe just watching, waiting, seeing if some chaos is going to kick off in front.
Travis Shaw is aware of the fact that whilst he's going to be looking to get back and take that position away from Finley Polehill, he is also being threatened and pressured by Matthew Thomas behind him, running in 4th position. Absolutely brilliant racing. There's been an off there. We'll have to wait and see who that is.
It's Tomlinson.
That is Tomlinson. That is 77 of Taylor Tomlinson. That is him out of the race. Gosh, what a race we are seeing here. Still leading out front is the number 14 of Frankie Watson. These guys now a 3-way battle for that 2nd place. Travis Shaw in the middle of Finley Polehill running in 2nd and Matthew Thomas running in 4th. 5 laps left to go here at Ellough Park. There is Travis Shaw biting at the heels of Finley Polehill to take that 2nd position back, and hot on his tail also Matthew Thomas. Very interesting to see what's going to happen between these guys with just 4 laps now left to go. Frankie Watson leading the way out front.
Obviously no overtakes allowed to be made into turn 1. Yellow flags being waved after Tomlinson crashes out from 5th place. A real shame for him. The 77 was having a strong opening race to the weekend, but then there were 3 and they're still fighting for 2 places on the podium. Who will get them? Polehill and Shaw currently in position, but the 47 of Matthew Thomas looks very racy just behind them as well. While they're fighting, it's allowed Frankie Watson to extend the gap up front to 3.8 seconds. He is very much out and away up the front. I don't think he's going to have any issues, face any struggles over the rest of this one. 3 laps left to go. Shaw looks to the inside, as does Matthew Thomas. Thomas has to sit up and back out of it. Goodness me, that was close between all 3 of them. They are really leaving it all out on the racetrack.
They are indeed. Shaw is making some moves today. He's looking to get up on the inside of Polehill and take that position back from him. That was very close then between Shaw and Thomas. They nearly had a little touch there. Now Thomas has got through on Shaw. The number 47 leads ahead of the number 4 in this battle for 2nd place. 3 laps left to go. Thomas now going to be looking to catch up with Polehill. He's now running in 3rd on that number 47, with Travis Shaw on the number 4 running in 4th position.
Absolutely, Frankie Watson still leads by a country mile as they come to some lapped traffic. That is the number 11, and I think that may be the individual who is blank on our timing screens. We've got a transponder number on our live timing, but no name, so I think that's why that's blank. That'll be them on the number 11 machine there, that these leaders, or this leading pack, should I say, just heading through. But as a result, of course, no blue flags here in FAB-Racing. You just got to negotiate your way around. It's caused them to split up a little bit. So Pole Hill now with some breathing room behind, and Travis Shaw from second to fourth, and now potentially running out of time as well, because we're about to be going on to the final lap of the race. These guys crossing the line now will do so. Last lap board is out. We've apparently got rid of the last lap flag in 2025. And Pole Hill, Thomas and Shaw in the final podium places. Can Shaw make anything up as Frankie Watson, quite frankly, can finish this race backwards and blindfolded? Yes, those battling behind him gave him a lot of breathing room, but it's been a fantastic ride from the 14.
It has indeed. He's coming around now, just getting ready to finish this first race of the Mini GP70. A very comfortable lead Frankie Watson has had so far this race. There we go. This is it. Coming around that final corner now. Back onto the start. Finish straight is Frankie Watson, and he takes pole position, wins the race. Let's see who's in second. It is the 199 of Finley Pole Hill who takes second position. In third place we have Matthew Thomas, and unfortunately in fourth we have Travis Shaw. An amazing battle we have seen between those three so far in this race today.
Cool, calm and collected celebrations from Frankie Watson. Little wave at the camera and then he'll point yourself. Yeah, I'm the man. Race one win, and done in fine style as well. What a ride for the 14 as he takes victory in front of Finley Pole Hill and Matthew Thomas rounding out the top three. Travis Shaw finished in P4 with Logan Cousins in P5. Leo Soliu was P6, Riley Paisley 7th, and the black rider in number 8, who we believe was the 11, that has been confirmed as a transponder problem, which is why they are blank on your timing screen. With Taylor Tomlinson finishing P9. Unfortunately, we lost Harrison Day and Taylor Davies. Of course, we did also lose Taylor Tomlinson, but he was close enough to the end that he was classified, but a real shame for him. Of course, 2 more races to come from the Mini GP70s, but lots of things to think about moving forward there. Harrison Day, a rare mistake from the number 15. Looks like he low-sided out of the final corner, but that is not something you expect to see from one of the championship favourites.
No, it isn't, and especially after his issues he's been having so far this weekend, it's going to be horrible for him to feel like that. Coming up now, we have got the Pit Bike 140 series coming out on track to get ready, get lined up, ready to go on their outlap. Lots of riders we have today joining us here at Ellough Park for this race. Always interesting stuff seen from these guys in the Pit Bike. At Lyd, we saw a very close battle happening between Chris Wells and Jamie King throughout the whole weekend. It'll be interesting to see how that continues this weekend. Here they are now, just getting into their grid positions, ready for the outlap. Like they are getting ready. Absolutely brilliant stuff from them to be seen. Look at them all making sure they're straight. Brilliant stuff.
Absolutely, as we see there on pole position, who else but the tractor boy, Ipswich's own Richard Holmes Williams, once again returning for his local track. In fact, the front two, both hometown heroes, of course, Jamie King from Yarmouth just up the road. So both of them are going to do battle as Chris Wells sits P3 just behind them. So it could be really interesting. A few riders making returns. Again, a big grid of 20 riders in this one. We saw last year Jamie King and Richard Holmes Williams having a huge fight out there. Let's see if they can do that again. It is Richard Holmes Williams, the tractor boy, starts on pole position. Jamie King, after his big off on Friday, can only manage second place. Chris Wells is third, with Ben Crockgrove in P4. Harrison Quincy, good to see him back in P5 with Zach Tureen in P6. Joshua French is 7th with Simon Gates in P8. P9 is Keaton Payne with Ashley Powell in P10. Danny Knight's Rush and Harry Bauer round out the top 12. Row 7 is James Ratcliffe with Nathan Gardner. Perry Thompson is 15th. Daniel Gilbert 16th. Danny Cockgrove starts 17th with Robert Baldock alongside. Rounding out our 20-rider grid is Dan French and Adam Thornborough. So it should be really interesting to see what's going to happen in this one. The top two only separated by 3/4 of a tenth of a second. Chris Wells as well, not too far away. Of course, it is the local boys who are here all the time that you'd expect to see running well here. And of course, it is the local boys, Richard Holmes-Williams and Jamie King, alone on the front row. But of course, you can't count the likes of Chris Wells out. Harrison Quincy as well. He can certainly be quick. This should be a really fascinating race.
It should be indeed. They're all getting ready now, coming around, forming the grid. There is our flag marshal holding up the red flag. Jamie King in second after his crash yesterday is impressive stuff. Let's see how he performs today. There is our flag marshal just getting ready now, moving out the way, and it is lights out and away we go. Richard Holmes-Williams holding on to that first place. Here is Jamie King though, hot on his tail in second position. A little battle there happening for third place. Everybody bunched up, but here is Holmes absolutely stretching out a lead, forming a gap already ahead of everyone else just into the first section of the course. Absolutely brilliant stuff we're seeing from these guys. Lots of bikes out on track for the pit bike this week, and interesting to see how this race is gonna turn out.
We'll have to wait and see, but a great launch there for Holmes-Williams. King wasn't quite able to retaliate, and looks like Chris Wells actually lost ground to Ben Cockgrove and dropped down into P4. So we'll wait and see how it's all going to unfold over the remainder of this race. Just getting underway, but already lots of interesting battles forming as the 20 pit bikes roar past us and start lap number 2. And Holmes-Williams already starting to gain a huge gap, 1.3 seconds he was at the line last time, as Chris Wells cannot get through. It looks like it's Harrison Quincy, in fact, who slid up into third place. Indeed it is. So Wells stuck behind Quincy as it stands. Joshua French also putting him under huge pressure. So a huge train forming from third downwards, but it's allowing those front two to start to pull away at the front of the pack a little.
Yeah, indeed it has. Everybody's quite bunched up this time round. We have still got 11 laps to go. We will have to see what happens. But Chris Wells lost that third position to Harrison Quincy. Going to be interesting to see what happens between these guys here. Look at that, coming round the corners as they come round that accordion effect. They bunch up together, then stretch back out as they come out of the corner. There we can see Chris Wells is looking to make a move on Harrison Quincy. Just couldn't quite get it, but that's not going to be his only try. He is going to keep going. 10 laps left to go. Richard Holmes-Williams leads, sets a fastest time of 50.254. Oh dearie me, Chris Wells has lost another place to Joshua French on the 116.
In fact, he's lost 2 positions because he had to get out of it, and Ben Cockgrove has slid past as well. What is going wrong for the 2023 Pit Bike 140 champ? Just not going his way so far today in race number 1 of the Pit Bike 140s. Meanwhile, up the front, Holmes-Williams now 2 seconds to the good from Jamie King in P2. And Chris Wells really struggling. He tried to go the long way around on the previous lap on Harrison Quincy. This time looks to the inside, and on Cockgrove once again has to get out of it. Goodness me, he just doesn't have an answer at the moment. Does the 62, just can't quite find it as they push around a huge grid of 25 bikes here. Action everywhere you look. But right now it's all eyes on this group here as Quincy into the podium places, and everyone wondering what is going on with Chris Wells, who normally is leading, or at the very least is in a very close second place today. Just looks like he can't quite find it.
Yeah, it looks like he's just struggling a bit to find the pace today and pull what he needs to out of this bike to be up there running with the front runners. 9 laps left to go. He is still tucked behind Ben Cockgrove and Joshua French, but he has got Zach Torian hot on his tail as well, trying to take 6th position away from him. So it'll be interesting to see what happens though. But Richard Holmes-Williams and Jamie King flying ahead of everybody else. Very interesting stuff. 8 laps left to go. Let's see how Chris Wells, who was once our leader before Lid sees how he does throughout this race.
He just looks really uncomfortable on the bike. It's bizarre, but you look at him into corners and how the bike reacts to bumps, and if someone's sticking a nose up the inside, how he reacts. It just doesn't look like he's settled at all on that pit bike machine, which is really, really bizarre for Chris Wells, but he's fighting on anyway. Zach Tureen desperately tried to find a way through on the previous tour, just couldn't quite find it. With 7 laps left to go, it's still Holmes-Williams from King, from Quincy, your top 3 as they come to the line now, but it's getting very, very close between some of our other riders. Looks like Ben Cotgrove and Joshua French trying to trade places. There's Tureen, that's a very liberal take on track limits and almost met the tyre barrier there on the exit of turn number 1, but getting down nice and low, trying to make up time, big time in the corners as they're now all funnel their way through. So Harrison Quincy's opened up a little bit of a gap to French and Cotgrove behind, and as they're starting, the fight is starting to bunch everyone else up behind them as well. So French leaves Cotgrove in P4 at the moment. Wells once again looks to the inside and once again finds nothing. 7, soon to be 6 laps left to go, and Chris Wells stuck in P6.
Yeah, he just doesn't seem to be able to be pushing and getting everything he can out of the bike today. It looks like it's not really working with him today, but we'll have to see how he does. Out in front, we have a Richard Holmes-Williams, 3-second gap to...
Sorry, got
Jamie
very,
King.
very close to the wall there, did Joshua French, really leaving it all out on the track and then some. Yeah, these guys are pushing hard.
They are indeed very close battles between these guys. They are just wanting to battle. Oh! Chris Wells went to look and make a move again, and once again just couldn't get past Ben Cotgrove on the 52. He's struggling there. Ben Cotgrove, though, looking to make a move past the 1-6 of Joshua French, and he has, and I do believe Chris Wells has as well. He has indeed, up to 5th place now for Chris Wells, looking to make that move past Ben Cotgrove, but still, that is the person he's struggling with. Very close battle between these guys here. They are tight as anything. Who is going to take it? Chris Wells looks to the inside, and he does. Chris Wells takes that move and gets past Cotgrove.
Oh, this is fierce racing. The pit bike guys making no friends out there on the track. It's to the inside and on the grass, maybe. Man, oh man, Joshua French going off-roading, going motocross style as he tried to get through there, but unable to try and get anything for the time being. 5 laps left to go, and it is getting aggressive. These guys, wow, really pushing each other hard.
They are, like you said, ferocious racing happen between these guys. They are being vicious with each other. They're not taking it easy on each other. They're not quite good friends. Normally we see them all chatting in the paddock, but visors down, they do not care. They are pushing each other to the limits to keep in that top 10 and fight for those podium positions. We have got 4 laps left to go, and now Richard Holmes-Williams, starting pole position, has held on to that position. Jamie King is still, after his incident yesterday, holding on to 2nd place. He was telling us earlier when we interviewed him in the paddock, he was a bit worried about how he'd do today. He saw he's uncomfortable, but look at him in 2nd place and holding on to it.
Doing a great job, but just doesn't have an answer for the tractor boy, does Pit Bike Sonic at the moment. Well, I mean, the gap of 3.5 seconds at the line last time between 1st and 2nd tells you everything you need to know about what is going on in this race. As there we see coming to the line now, starting the last lap, that'll be Chris Wells. He comes home in P4. Joshua French is 5th. Zach Tureen in P6 at the moment. 3 laps left to run. Can anybody shake anything up once again? Because it's been a chaotic race so far. I don't think it's done doing that just yet.
No, I don't think it's done either. It's so interesting what is going on with these guys today. Like Ross just said, 3 laps left to go in this race. Richard Holmes-Williams ahead of everyone else, absolutely dominating this first race of the pit bikes here at Ellough Park. Jamie King running in 2nd. 3rd on the 755, we have Harrison Quincy. Absolute brilliant stuff we are seeing from these guys today racing here. Here is our second place runner right now, and back to our first place. There is Richard Holmes Williams. 2 laps left to go on the penultimate lap of racing here at Ellough Park. Absolutely dominating ahead of everybody else. Everybody's still a bit bunched up. Oh, Jamie King stuck in a bit of traffic there. That was close for him there, but Richard Holmes Williams is breezing on round this track here at Ellough Park. 2 laps left to go. He's just come through that hairpin section, past that chicane, coming into the final section of the track to begin his final lap of racing. He has absolutely dominated this first race of the pit bikes, got himself out of all the bunching up of everybody else, focused on taking that lead, and is absolutely flown with it. We are on our last lap of racing for the pit bikes of race number 1 here at Ellough Park. Look, there is our race leader, Richard Holmes Williams. Just in the background of our screens, we saw our second place runner, Jamie King, trying to catch up with him, but Holmes has absolutely dominated, is leading with absolute ease this pit bike race.
I mean, it's very, very rare you see domination to this scale in the pit bike 140s. Normally they're scrapping all the way to the line. But the tractor boy today has turned up and shown them who's boss as he rounds Paddock Bend for the final time. Richard Holmes Williams will hear the adoring local fans calling his name, because it is the hometown hero who takes a dominant victory. Richard Holmes Williams wins a brilliant race number 1 and does it in some style by 2.5 seconds from Jamie King. He backed off on the last lap as well to celebrate and was 2 seconds off of the laps that he was running. Jamie King finishes in second with Harrison Quincy rounding out the podium places. But Holmes Williams simply untouchable in that one.
He was indeed. Absolute brilliant stuff we saw from him. Like you said, we have not seen domination like that so far. Absolutely brilliant stuff from Richard Holmes Williams. Here he is now on our screens. That is your race winner for the first race here at Ellough Park.
Wow, what a race we've just seen. It's Richard Holmes Williams who takes victory with Jamie King in P2. Harrison Quincy rounding out the podium places. Chris Wells finishes P4 with Joshua French in P5. Zach Tureen just behind in 6th. Ben Cockgrove was 7th with Simon Gates in P8. Keaton Payne 9th. And Danny Knight Rush, who rounded out our top 10 there. Did have a fair few DNFs in that one, unfortunately, by the looks of things, as to be expected. Looks like we lost Zach Andrews, Nathan Gardner, Robert Leveridge, Monty Cockgrove and Bradley Powell amongst all the chaos. But man, oh man, what an interesting race we've seen there. Yes, some fantastic pit bike action as those fighting for the final podium place really got the elbows out. But really interesting to see Richard Holmes Williams' advantage today. Does he keep that moving forward into race 2 and race number 3 later on this weekend?
Coming up next, we've got the MK Mini GP50. The first race for them here at Ellough Park will be 11 laps long. They are sponsored this weekend by the Kiggs 2 Wheel Centre. And it'll be brilliant. And it's brilliant that they have been sponsored this weekend. Just waiting for them now. They are just being in the holding area until they're allowed to come round onto grid, get ready and start this race.
Absolutely, they are on a huge grid. 21 riders out there this weekend. So it could be very, very interesting how it's all going to unfold. But of course, so far this season, it's all been about one man, and that man, Super Sebastian Goslavsky. He'll be starting from pole again this weekend. A solid pole by 0.4 of a second as well. And every time he's hit the racetrack so far here at Ellough Park, he looks phenomenal out there.
He does. We were speaking to Super Seb earlier, and he's confident and he's ready to go this weekend. He had a brilliant weekend at our season opener a couple of weeks ago in Lydd, and he's absolutely dominating so far. And like you said, Ross, back on pole position, 0.4 of a lead over everybody else. It's going to be brilliant seeing what he can do.
We'll have to wait and see, but it may be a bit of a challenge for anyone to try and challenge him. But anything can happen in racing, and it normally does, to butcher a very famous quote. And it should be interesting as the riders making their way now out onto the grid before they get going on their sighting lap. Yes, of course, Sebastian Goslavsky is the one we've all got our eye on, but some very, very strong riders out there. Of course, the Mini GP50s brought to you by King's Two Wheel Centre. It is the first step onto geared bikes in these young racers' careers and the first step onto Grand Prix style machinery. So yes, you have a bit of differences and experiences. There's some people this will be their second, maybe even their first race they're ever doing, or first weekend they're ever doing, should I say, on these bikes. Some of these guys have been doing it for a few years. They got it down to a T. So you do get those interesting parallels there, and you get to see who the stars of tomorrow are today.
Yeah, you do indeed. These guys just waiting now to be let and go round on their opening lap. Here we are with the MK Mini GP50. They're just coming round onto the grid now, waiting to go out on their outlap before starting their race. Looking at them there, they are all very much looking ready to go. Focused visors are down. Let's see who will happen. It's been so unexpected so far today in the racing. Anything can happen in this race, and it'll be interesting to see what happens, Ross.
It will be indeed. Let's run through the grid. It is Sebastian Goslavsky that starts from the pole position. Bradley Curtis alongside Rex Austin in P3. Mason Frederick starts in P4. Tommy Keats and Josh Perkins are on the third row, with Jensen Ansell in 7th, and Emilio Pereira, great qualifying for him once again. He starts P8. Riley Paisley and Nicholas Dunwoody round out our top 10, with Caelan Ratcliffe 11th and Preston Baker in P12. Daisy Polden is 13th, with Kai Hawken in P14. Dylan Serene and Bo Morris make up row 8, with Seth Hayward 17th and Max Johnson going off alongside. Bojan Belichevsky starts 19th, with Callum Maxwell rounding out our top 20. And our 21st and final rider on the grid, Oliver Wilson. So a huge grid of riders, lots of very, very talented names out there. Should be really interesting to see how they're all able to contest with each other. I mean, it's not a very big racetrack here at Ellough Park. It is around 1,100 metres long, but it's not very wide. You've got 21 bikes out there all trying to jostle for position. Could get a little bit interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's been interesting all day, Ross. Let's be honest. We've had quite a few bikes out this weekend. We've mentioned that already. But it's brilliant to see so many people coming and getting involved with FAB. Here we are now, everybody lining up on the grid. Like Ross mentioned earlier, everybody making sure they are straight, because everybody was told earlier by the race control that they must be straight, nobody on an angle at all. We are getting ready, everybody finally just getting into position. You can see they're all desperate to get started. Flag marshal moves out the way, and it's lights out and away we go. There is Super Seb in pole position, leading into that first corner of the first lap of the MK Mini GP50 racing. Following him on the 71 is Bradley Curtis, held on to his second position, starting the race, and he's going to be hunting Super Seb down.
He certainly is, but let's see if he can make a move. Oh, up the inside. That was brave from Emilio Pereira, who almost dropped the rear as he got some serious lean angle on that thing, but managed to get the metric kit pivoted and moves up a place. Wonderful move from El Toro as they all continue to try and find their rhythm, try and find who is going to be where, and try and make up any positions if they are able to as they make their way around Paddock Bend. Look at them all just flying through a never-ending stream of bikes as they come to the end of lap number 1. It is Sebastian Goslavsky that leads the way ahead of Bradley Curtis in P2. And boy, oh boy, that looks like it could be a race in our hands. Rex Austin holding on in P3 as well, but some serious battles already forming behind them as we start lap number 2.
Yes, Ross, 10 laps left to go. Rex Austin on the first lap set a fastest time of 53.313. Brilliant stuff from him. Let's see, everybody else is still quite closely bunched together. Interesting to see how this race is going to be turning out. Lots of bikes on the grid, and they're all quite close together, and it's going to be interesting to see how this race goes between them all. Leading though still is Super Seb on that number 64. We've got a bit of a battle going on here between the number 8 of Tommy Keats and the 22 of Jensen Ansel. Jensen Ansel has now got past Tommy Keats and he's took that 4th position. Sebastian Gazlowski dropping down our timesheet currently.
Yeah, what's going on with Sebastian Gazlowski? Is he down and out of the race? Who can tell for the time being, but we're going to keep pushing onwards regardless. Yeah, that was some monster racing there between Tommy Keats and Jensen Ansel, both of them not giving each other even an inch. And as a result, it's allowed Emilio Pereira on the 31 to get involved and slide up through as well. As there we see, continuing to follow them around. The 31 watching and waiting, only his 2nd race weekend on these Metrokit Mini GP50 machines. So it could be interesting. And yeah, I can see looking at the commentary box window, Sebastian Gazlowski nowhere to be seen. So something has happened to our race leader, and it is now Bradley Curtis that does lead this race. So some early drama here. We're not sure what's happened, but we'll let you know as soon as we know. Bradley Curtis is now on his own at the front with a 1.5 second lead as this battle for what is now P5 rages on. And there's still action everywhere you look as well. That's Riley Paisley, Caelan Ratcliffe and Josh Perkins. All of them, you couldn't fit a piece of paper between them out on the racetrack as they head into turn number 3. And it is just about Riley Paisley that holds on to the lead, but Caelan Ratcliffe is right there with him.
Yeah, and on our screens we've just saw the number 35 of Nicholas Dunwoody moving past the 30 of Josh Perkins. He has taken that 9th place away from him. Brilliant to see what is happening with these guys a bit further back in our pack. They're all still racing very closely. They all want to be in that top 10. Still leading this race is the number 71 of Bradley Curtis. Following in him in 2nd is the 991 of Rex Austin. And on our 3rd and final podium position, currently with 7 laps to go, is Mason Frederick.
Well, this morning his gearbox was in tatters. Now Bradley Curtis leads the Mini GP50's race number 1, brought to you by King's Two Wheel Centre. Riley Paisley is withstanding unbelievable amounts of pressure from behind right now. Caelan Ratcliffe is clambering all over the back of him. And just behind them as well, Josh Perkins and Daisy Polden pushing each other right to the limits. But Riley Paisley holding on really well there as that down is the number 15. Hopefully everything is okay for Seth Hayward. We'll have to wait and see if the bomber can continue around, but looks like that may be his day done and dusted. Real shame there for him. He was running in P13 at the time and having a good race as well. 6 laps left to go then, and in this battle for P6, or P7 should I say, it's still Riley Paisley that holds on. Ratcliffe under attack from Perkins, doesn't come into fruition on that occasion. Perkins has to sit the bike up as well, and now Ratcliffe can go on full attack mode. Maybe, not quite yet.
No, probably not yet at all. You are right there, Ross. They are all bunched up very closely together, these lot here in that battle that is happening. We have got 6 laps left to go. Out in the front of this group is the number 30 of Josh Perkins. It'll be brilliant to see how he... And here we go, back with our race leader. 5 laps left to go. That is the number 71 of Bradley Curtis. He is doing absolutely amazing. Got that lead, put his head down, and he's just leading the pack with grace.
He is indeed a wonderful ride from the 71. Yes, a little bit of luck as a result of Sebastian Gazlowski encountering issues somewhere, but he was still pushing the pole man until whatever befell the 64 befell him, and he went down and out of the race. So Curtis now with a bit of an unscheduled test session to the end. He's got 2.3 seconds to the good on Rex Austin currently, and looking very, very comfortable indeed. Mason Frederick holds on to the final podium place as well. But again, it could all change. Still time for things to happen. Still times for shake-ups. And maybe someone can just find something in their back pocket and lap, 10 seconds quicker than anyone else. I don't think that's quite likely, but it is Curtis from Austin. From Frederick, your top 3. Jensen Ansel just holding off from Tommy Keats for 4th. And Pereira not far behind them as well either. And then, of course, we've got that huge battle from Riley Paisley downwards There we see the 991. That'll be Rex Austin. He's currently in P2 as it stands. And in a bit of no man's land, he's got 2.6 seconds ahead, 1.6 seconds behind. So he's just sort of running his own race, hitting his marks at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. 4 laps left to go. Like you said, Ross, he is comfortable in that second position. This is perfect. He has got that bit of a gap from those running behind him. He's going to be trying to catch up with Bradley Curtis, but 4 laps left to go. A gap of 2.6 seconds. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. He's comfortable in his own race, getting used to his bike still. There is our runner in third place, the number 5 of Mason Frederick. Brilliant stuff we are seeing from him. 3 laps now left to go of this race. He is sitting in our third and final podium position. Our front 3 runners have got a massive gap built from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, they very much shot away at the front. And, well, making use of the quick machinery underneath them, making use of their own talents and making use of the free racetrack, just kind of disappearing off. So it'll be shortly 2 laps left to go. And I'm not saying they can cruise home, but they've certainly got an easy run in. That being said, Mason Frederick looks like he may have gained a little bit on Rex Austin there. We see there's some traffic. I think it may have held Austin up just a little bit, and it continues to hold Frederick up, actually. He has to run off the road and still won't get through. That's the 1-1-1 of Callum Maxwell, who he now does get through. He is running last on the road at the moment after we've lost a few people, unfortunately. So that did end up holding up Mason Frederick quite considerably, but the gap did come down when they crossed the line. Again, no blue flags at FAB-Racing. You've got to negotiate them on your own accord. You've got to get through the traffic in some way or some form. They are not getting out of the way of you unless they feel nice, and more often than not, they don't. So you really have to make your own way through, and it can cause a little bit of chaos. That, I think, is what's befallen Mason Frederick there. Soon to go on to the final lap of the race for the leaders.
Indeed, it is 2 laps left to go, and now coming down into this last lap, there is the number 71. That is our leader, Bradley Curtis, caught in a bit of traffic there with the 141. He's just making his way past. Like you said, Ross, no blue flags here. They just have to make their way past. This last lap is Bradley Curtis just to get that lead and hold on to it, and he is doing it brilliantly. He is going to take that first place here at Ellough Park in the first race of the Mini GP50. Bradley Curtis, our race leader. Absolutely brilliant stuff coming around into that paddock corner, that last little section of the track. Here he goes. This is it for Bradley Curtis. He is taking the race win of the first race of the MK Mini GP50 here at Ellough Park. Following him in second place is a Rex Austin. In third place, Mason Frederick. Fourth place, Jensen Ansel. Fifth, Tommy Keats. And sixth, Emilio Pereira.
Well, what a fascinating race we've just seen there. Maybe not as much action up the front as we're used to, but some commanding rides and some real interesting battles further else in the pack as well. It's Bradley Curtis who takes victory by nearly 5 seconds from Rex Austin in P2. Mason Frederick rounding out the podium places. Jensen Ansel was fourth with Tommy Keats in P5, and Emilio Pereira, great ride from him, up into P6. Caelan Ratcliffe managed to get into 7th place in the end, as well as Josh Perkins in P8. They both got through Riley Paisley, who finished 9th, with Nicholas Dunwoody in P10. Daisy Polden 11th with Dylan Tureen in 12th. Guy Hawken was 13th with Max Johnson P14. Bojan Blajewski was 15th with Callum Maxwell 16th and Bo Morris in 17th. Unfortunately, we lost Preston Baker, Seth Hayward, Sebastian Goslavsky we knew about after he drops out of the lead of the race. And we also lost Oliver Wilson, who I believe may have not even made the race start. So a real shame for those guys, but a very interesting race to keep an eye on there. And again, if Sebastian Goslavsky was still involved in that one, if he hadn't have had whatever happened, be it mechanical failure or if he dropped the bike, whatever, if he was still in that race at the end, I think there'd have been a huge battle between himself and Curtis for the race win. So race 2 and race 3 could be interesting.
I definitely agree with you there, Ross. We lost Sebastian Goslavsky in that race. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him. Coming up now, we have our first race of the Moto team happening very soon for you all. This weekend, it is a very special weekend for these guys. We have got a friendly competitive match taking place between the South Africans and the British, set up by the riders themselves. Speaking to them all today, there's a lot of friendly rivalry, friendly banter going on between them, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens with that.
Well, you say friendly rivalry, but I know there's a few riders that are taking it deadly seriously as well. Some of the O'Keefe guys are very much like, South Africans want nothing to do with you. I don't think they're getting full spitting image. Never met a nice South African on it, but it's certainly heading in that direction. It's all fun and games. At the end of the day, it's just something they've set up on their own. Nothing that the series itself have organised. It's all just very much between the own riders. But it just creates something a little bit extra nice. We've got a few South Africans on the grid today. Again, they've had to claim a few people as their own. I think they're saying that the top British rider will be a South African going into this one. But we'll have to wait and see how it's going to unfold across the rest of the weekend. But a nice little intra-squad tournament there as the riders make their way out onto the grid. And of course, it's just another thing that we have to keep in mind, alongside the fact that it's Moto team and there's two different classes as well. So it could be very, very interesting indeed. Now, it should be important to note, no Ian Jackson by the looks of things coming into this weekend. So that could be a bit interesting. In fact, it looks like everybody out there is on their own bike and are doing their own thing. The only team name that I can see in the grid is Team Acme Racing, which, as we all know, is Marco Pandolfo, who's riding that all season. So it should be really interesting to see how it's going to unfold. And of course, very important to remember as well, no number 96, no Will Howth today. So him and that dominant machine not showing up. Should be interesting then. Let's get underway. Let's get our grid going. It's Team Acme Racing. Marco Pandolfo, the number 8, starts on pole with Joshua French alongside. Harrison O'Keefe is P3 with Phil Joyce in 4th. Ben O'Keefe starts 5th. Let's hope he doesn't crash in the final corner and throw away a race win this time, alongside Jack Van Eden, who returns this weekend. George Knights is 7th with Paul Kelly in P8. Linton Dimiola is P9 alongside Malcolm Steyn. Reece Gentry is 11th with Rob Huntley in P12. And Gary O'Keefe rounds out our grid. Should be very interesting. Of course, two different classes, but now two battles of the nations as well to watch.
I know, we've got it all happening this weekend, haven't we, Ross? They're just coming round now on that outlap before they form the grid, and we get this race underway here at Ellough Park. In pole position, we have Team Acme Racing, like Ross just said. Marco Pandolfo there with his team. He is running on the Moto Team Open Championship. And in second place, we have Joshua French. Not too sure what he's doing, if he's open or standard. We will have to wait and see. Quite a small grid we've got for these guys here, but it's going to be a good one.
I've seen smaller in the Motor team. Important to note as well that Joshua French is not French, nor does he represent the nation of France in this mini Ashes test. He's just kind of there for the fun with that last name. Right then, it's all eyes to the lights. Let's go racing in Moto team race number 1. Oh, and Marco Pandolfo doesn't go anywhere. Or was that a jump start maybe? All possible. Jack Van Eden is somehow leading into turn 1. What is going on? I got no idea whatsoever. I think it may have been a few jump starts as they got going, and then a few of them went. Somehow the 17 of Jack Van Eden making his return to FAB-Racing this weekend, a former Grand Prix rider himself, up into the lead. Chaos away at the start. Is Van Eden from French, from Marco Pandolfo, your top 3.
That was absolute madness at that start here. We have got, like Ross said, the number 17 of Jacques Van Eden leading ahead of the 1/116 of Joshua French, who Marco Pandolfo is looking on his team Acme to be making a move, and he does. That is number 8 now up into second, and he's close on the tail on that number 17. Gonna look to make a move. There you go. You saw the number 17 and looked behind him then to see what is gonna happen. He is hot. Number 8 of Team Acme Racing in second position is hot on the tail of that number 17. We are got 10 laps left to go here. Our current running in order is the number 17 of Jacques Van Eden, the number 8 Marco Pandolfo for Team Acme Racing, third place the 116 Joshua French, and then fourth we have the number 65, which is Harrison O'Keefe.
Obviously, right now, I think it's South Africa winning this semi-Ashes thing. Jacques Van Eden, of course, representing that country, but he has run deep into the hairpin, and it's allowed Marco Pandolfo, the number 8 Team Acme bike, and the 116 of Joshua French through. So, who knows what's going on. I mean, we've got to remember as well, 2 different classes at the same time. Another thing to keep your mind on, Jacques Van Eden's in open, Team Acme Racing, that's in the open bike, as we clarified last time out at Lid when everyone else thought they were a standard bike. Joshua French is on the standard class machinery though. So Joshua French leads the way in standard, Harrison O'Keefe for second, Phil Joyce is third in that class. Third place in the open class is currently running P11 overall. It's Malcolm, or P9 overall, should I say, and it's Malcolm Stein. So that's the open class there. And again, just trying to wrap your head around all of it. Sometimes it's a bit too much for my small brain. So currently, I think that South Africa are winning the Ashes. I don't know. It's confusing.
Yeah, we'll let them tell us that about that one. Currently leading this race on the Moto Team Open is Marco Pandolfo of the Team Acme Racing. I just want to mention quickly though, running 6 overall at the moment is Linton Di Meola, and I heard from a little birdie earlier that he has changed from a Honda to a Suzuki this race weekend. There we can see number 17, our third of Jacques Van Eden there, ahead of the 65 of Harrison O'Keefe and the 119 of Phil Joyce. 8 laps left to go here. So far, running first for the Moto Team Open is Marco Pandolfo. Following him from Moto Team Open Championship is Jacques Van Eden, who's running third overall. Joshua French running second overall, but leading for the Moto Team Standard.
Absolutely. We know that the O'Keefe boys were taking this Ashes tournament very, very seriously, alongside, of course, having some fun along the way. And you have to wait and see. So we're not entirely sure either how it all works for someone like Marco Pandolfo, who comes from Sicily. Where does he fit into all of this? Is he just sort of a kind of a bystander, or who knows, quite frankly? But yeah, we know that the O'Keefe's taking this tournament very, very seriously. They were eyeing up the South Africans across them in the paddock with rage in their eyes, and maybe some I wouldn't say fear in their hearts, because, you know, those boys never get scared, even when they crash out of the race on the final lap. Sorry, Ben, I'm never going to let you live that one down every single time we come back to Ellough Park. There we do see the 41 of Linton Di Meola on the Suzuki, as you said, Izzy, for the first time this weekend. Seems to be running A-OK for the time being. He's holding off Ben O'Keefe, Malcolm Stein just behind as well. Paul Kelly also in this battle on the 339 machine, that yellow and green fairing just behind. Has a little look actually to the inside of Malcolm Stein. Can't quite make anything happen on that occasion. So clearly the switch to the Suzuki's working out okay for Di Meola. Yeah,
it definitely looks like it is. He's got that little bit of the lead on Ben O'Keefe at the moment. He's sitting comfortably in 6th place overall in this race with 6 laps left to go. There we can see him there ahead of Ben O'Keefe, the number 41 of Linton Di Meola, coming round into that first corner of this race, coming up past race control, up to the back end of the track, through a nice sweeping curving section. It'll be interesting to see how he does. Leading this race overall currently is Marco Pandolfo of the Team Acme Racing. Fastest lap of 53.919. Brilliant stuff to see from him. Still on our screens, we can see the 64 of Ben O'Keefe. This is a nice battle, 4-way battle we've got going on here for 7th position. Interesting to see what's going to happen between all of these guys here. 5 laps overall left to go of this race here at Ellough Park, the first race for the Moto Team Championship.
Yeah, great lap times there from the number 8 machine of Marco Pandolfo. Of course, little way off the lap record. I don't think we're going to be seeing any Moto Team lap records broken anytime soon. Of course, the previous one here set by Will Howarth back in 2022 under the older regulations that were a little bit faster, but still some very solid times from the number 8, from the Sicilian. on the Team Acme Racing bike. Joshua French still holding on to second place ahead of Jacques Van Eden. Of course, that's overall class-wise. It is the Team Acme Racing number 8 bike that leads overall and leads in open. With Jacques Van Eden, he's P3 overall. He is second in open, third place in open. You have to go down to P8 and find Malcolm Steyn. Meanwhile, in the standard class, as in now it's Joshua French who leads the way in that one. He just takes the fastest lap as well from Team Acme Racing. It's 53.802. Second place in standard is Harrison O'Keefe in P4 overall, and just behind him Phil Joyce is third place in standard and rounding out the podium in that category as well. 4 laps left to go, and we've got a battle of the fastest laps between the front pair on the track, even though they're in different classes, and still lots of action out on the racetrack as well.
Yeah, like you said, Ross, and it was something we spoke about when we were at Lid. It'd be interesting to see how different these guys were on the open and on the standard classes, but not a lot of time between these two front runners at all, with Marco Pandolfo on the number 8 leading for the Moto Team Open, running first overall, and Joshua French on the 116 from Moto Team Standard, running second overall but first from Moto Team Standard. 3 laps left to go. On our screens we can still see the 64 of Ben O'Keefe as he comes through. Here are our leaders. Look at that. Nothing between these two at all, but yet they're running 2 different classes of bike. Absolutely brilliant stuff from here to be seen. Joshua French hot on the tail of Marco Pandolfo, and is absolutely finding a comfortable position for himself in this race.
Of course, these two racing has no effect on them whatsoever unless they come together in DNF. They're both leading and both set to win in their own categories, but they're racers. At heart, the overall victory matters. Whoever crosses the line first, that matters to them. And Joshua French is going to put on the attack as they start the penultimate lap of the race. Marco Pandolfo holding firm down into turn 1. Look at the momentum on the 116. He nearly high sides out of turn 1. Somehow holds it. Actually had a little glance down at the rear wheel. I don't quite think he believe that he stayed on the bike there. Joshua French is pushing like a madman, and now set to 53.634 within a second of the old lap record under the old regs, which is unbelievable pace. Joshua French really wants that overall win.
He does, and he's gonna try and make a move if he can on the Team Acme bike, which has Marco Pandolfo on, to get that race win. Here we are now, just coming round paddock corner, coming into that final section, getting ready to start the final lap of racing here in the first race of the Moto Team Championship at Ellough Park. There is our race leader, Marco Pandolfo for Team Acme Racing on the Moto Team Open bike. Brilliant stuff we have seen from him in this first race here at Ellough Park. He has got a comfortable lead now. Joshua French has fallen back a bit, isn't so hot on his tail anymore. So Marco Pandolfo has just got the room to comfortably round this last lap and take that race win. There is the 116 of Joshua French. Looks like he could have had a bit of a problem. Let's go back to our leader, Marco Pandolfo for Team Acme Racing. Here he comes now round these final corners, ready to take that first win at this first race here at Ellough Park. Here he comes now round onto that start-finish straight, and he passes the finish line and takes first place overall. It is Marco Pandolfo for Team Acme Racing. Who is going to come second overall? It is still Joshua French on the 116 Moto Team Standard. Let's see who takes third place. It is looking to be Jacques Van Eden, and it is. And following him in fourth is Harrison O'Keefe, fifth Phil Joyce, and that makes our top 5 currently. Let's look at our results. First place overall, we had Team Acme Racing, Marco Pandolfo. Second place, Joshua French. Third, Jacques Van Eden. Fourth, Harrison O'Keefe. Fifth, Phil Joyce. Sixth, Linton Di Miola. Seventh, Ben O'Keefe. Eighth, Malcolm Steyn. Ninth, Paul Kelly. 10th, George Knight. 11th, Gary O'Keefe. And down at the bottom, 2 do not finishes, we had Rob Huntley and Reece Gentry.
Great racing there in the motor team. Let's just go through the podiums of each of the classes as well quickly. It was Marco Pandolfo, the overall winner. He takes the winner as well in the open class for Team Acme Racing, with Jacques Van Eden second and Malcolm Stein in P3. In the standard class, meanwhile, it's Joshua French who took the victory, Harrison O'Keefe second and Phil Joyce third. And we'll just have to update you on what's going on with the in-house Ashes tournament, the South Africans against the British, which isn't even technically the Ashes, because I'm pretty sure the Ashes is England, Australia. But you know what? We'll look beyond that. I like the idea. They've even got a trophy for it. It's a barbecue. It's quite nice. And it's a nice little tournament that they're doing as well. We'll have to update you and find out after we're done racing today.
Coming up now, we have the Extreme 200 races that will be taking place. This is race 1, sponsored by Amphibian Scaffolding. Thank you to them. It's going to be a brilliant race here today. They're just in the holding area right now. Be very good to see what happens in this race today. We are just waiting for them to come round on to track. Hello and welcome if you are just joining us on this live stream. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments, especially if you're watching on YouTube, who it is you're looking out for this weekend and who you are rooting for. It's going to be a good race here, second to last race of the day, and we are looking forward to it. It's going to be the Extreme 200. We also have a British Talent Cup rider visiting us for this race, Philip Suriak.
We do indeed. Should be really interesting to see what he is able to do. Suraviak, of course, recently taking victory in race 1 at Silverstone in the RNG British Talent Cup. At the when the Grand Prix was in town, winning in front of the MotoGP fans. That's going to be pretty special. Put your name on the lap. And of course, he does lead the British Talent Cup standings as well. But some big names, some big names returning this weekend, and we are really excited to see how it's going to unfold. We've got the likes of Wilson Dilks returning once again, Marco Holt, the 58. Oh, it's great to have him back as well after he's been off racing in Europe recently, and great to see him. He's in fine form, which is always brilliant to see, as the riders now making their way onto the grid before their sighting lap. Of course, Extreme 200s nowadays is open to Avalis and Metrokits. You do get a lot of GP-style machinery. Previously, it just used to be known as pit bike open. You do still occasionally get some pit bike-style bikes, but nowadays it's becoming more and more dominated by riders returning to FAB for the weekend and wanting some track time with something they're familiar with racing, and that's a Grand Prix-style bike.
It is indeed. We do have 2 of our pit bike riders joining the grid for this race this weekend, and that is Jamie King and Chris Wells. Going to be interesting to see how they are in this race, because obviously we're used to seeing them in pit bike. We haven't really seen them in Extreme 200 before. Riders just waiting there to be allowed to come round onto their out lap. It'll be interesting to see what is going to happen in this race today. Just waiting for the flag marshal to send our riders out on their out lap, get given the go ahead. We will see what is going to happen. Here we are, and this is the riders being set out on their out lap. Let's run through the starting grid. In first place, we have Wilson Dilks. Second place, Marco Holt. Third place, Henry McCartney. Fourth, Harrison Day. Fifth place, we have Finlay Polhill. Sixth, Travis Shaw. Seventh, Taylor Tomlinson. 8th, Harry Payne. 9th, Logan Cousins. 10th, Philip Suriak. 11th, Leo Soliu. 12th, Harry Barrell. 13th, we have Chris Wells. 14th, Jamie King. 15th, Taylor Davis. And 16th, Rory Jones.
Yeah, 16 rider grid there. Of course, the 2 pit bike fan favourites, Chris Wells and Jamie King, starting near the back, although they are on different machinery. They're riding on factory LRA Daytona 190s this weekend. Should be really interesting to see how they're going to run. Of course, great to see them out in the Extreme 200 field, though. It'll be interesting to see what they can do in another class. So it will be very interesting, but of course up the front it's some familiar faces, some of the younger guns, some of the talent of tomorrow that we're seeing today. Wilson Dilks and Marco Holt, 2 of the most dominant Mini GP 70 British champions we have ever seen, line up alongside each other. And Philip Stroviak starting P10, of course, British Challenge Cup Championship leader. Don't camp it out. It's red lights on. It is lights out and we are underway. Not the greatest getaway for Marco Holt there, as there is a rider down in the background. Who was that that's gone down immediately away from the lights? Did he just pop a wheelie? Did he clip someone? We'll have to wait and see, but it's Wilson Dilks that leads away. I believe Harrison Day may have slid through Marco Holt. No, not quite. Holt was just about able to hold on to that second place, and in fact Henry McCartney actually held on to third in front of Day as well. So the front four, as they were away from the lights, Dilks and Holt ready to do battle.
Brilliant stuff we are seeing from these guys, just continuing the race no matter what just happened as they left the grid, starting this race, running brilliantly so far. We have Wilson Dilks in first place, followed by Marco Holt in second. Look at that, pushing the bike, getting everything they can out of it as they come around that first corner and start the second lap of this race. Wilson Dilks leading ahead of Marco Holt. Henry McCartney running in third place. Harrison Day in fourth. Fifth, Travis Shaw, and sixth, Taylor Tomlinson. Those are our front runners there, our front three. And the front two are separating away. Dilks and Holt separating away to start their own fight.
Oh, Marco Holt hasn't lost that hyper-aggressive riding style. Yes, he lets the bike move underneath him, but the way he gets down for corners, just bang, straight to the ground, and he is all over the tail of Wilson Dilks. It is the 2024 Mini GP70 British champion that leads this race. It is the 2023 Mini GP70 British champion that is hot on his heels. A clash of the Titans, a clash we've wanted to see for so long, and now they are both out there giving it to each other. Couldn't fit a razor blade between them. Dilks leads Holt, but I don't know if he's going to hold on for the time being, because Marco Holt is all over the back of him.
He is indeed a very close battle we are seeing between these two that I reckon could last throughout the race. Dilks tries to pull away just that bit. Holt notices and says, no, I'm not letting that happen, and I'm going to chase you back down. I'm not letting you go that easily. These are our two battling for that first place in the race. Marco Holt has just set a fastest lap of 46.834. An absolutely brilliant battle we're seeing between these two here. 8 laps left to go. Still running in third is the number 31 of Henry McCartney. Following him in fourth is the number 15 of Harrison Day. On our screens right now we are seeing the number 58.
Yep, and that's just casually a lap record as well for Marco Holt. That's his third lap record that he now holds around here at Ellough Park, alongside the 50s and the 70s lap record, which he set both of them back in 2022. And, well, yeah. Oh, he's gone down! He's given it a welly full out of the final corner, and Marco Holt's lost the rear and gone onto the dirt. Unbelievable. Is the bike serviceable? Can he keep going? It looks like he will, but pushed it too hard and goes down at the penultimate corner. Marco Holt, oh, what a disaster there, and that means Wilson Dilks is already home and dry, quite frankly.
Oh, that was disappointing there, and you know Marco Holt is going to be disappointed in himself for that. 7 laps left to go. Here we are seeing Harrison Day there now running in third position, being hunted down by Finlay Polehill though on that 199. Not being let go that easily. Wilson Dilks set a fastest lap of 46.779, pushing himself out in that first position. Starting now, we've got 6 laps left to go. Brilliant racing we are seeing from these guys in the Extreme 200. Wilson Dilks leading very far ahead of everybody else. Here is Harrison Day holding on to that lead in that battle for third position, but Finlay Polehill very closely behind him. Absolutely brilliant stuff we are seeing from these guys here. Harrison Day keeping calm, keeping cool. Oh, but Finlay Polehill has just flown past Harrison Day and took that third position away from him, with Travis Shaw closing up behind Harrison Day now.
Absolute chaos here in the amphibian scaffolding Extreme 200s. Wilson Dilks now has the lap record of 46.779. for the race leader for the Mini GP70 British champion of last year, the reigning champion, I suppose you could say. 5 laps left to go. It is Dilks from McCartney from Pole Hill, your top 3. Harrison Day bizarrely struggling there. And meanwhile, further down the order as well, we see Taylor Tomlinson P7, Marco Holt P9. Just in front of him, British Challenge Cup Championship leader Filip Sorowiak. He's in P8 at the moment, running a pretty fine race. I'm not surprised he's not pushing himself too hard. Doesn't want to get too mixed up with it, I don't think.
No, I don't think he does. I think this is just a chance for him to enjoy himself this weekend, have a little break from British Talent Cup, but still get on the bike and get the feeling of a bike racing here with FAB-Racing. There is Harrison Day, a number 15, running in 4th place, hunting down Finley Pole Hill. He's going to be gutted that he lost that 3rd place to him. Still leading this race is Wilson Dilks in 1st place with 4 laps left to go here at Ellough Park for the Extreme 200 first race. Behind Harrison Day, though, we can see on our screens is the number 4 of Travis Shaw. He is still going to be looking to close all that gap and take away 4th position from Harrison Day.
Harrison will be desperate for a strong result as well after a bizarre incident in the final corner. Left him down and out of the 70s race. He'll want to end his Saturday with something strong at least, as a bizarre yellow thing goes flying in the air in front of our picture. There'll be 3 laps left to go for these guys as they cross the line now. Day still in front of Shaw, and they are catching Finley Pole Hill little by little in front, but I don't know if they have quite the time left to get to him. I think Pole Hill may just hold on for the podium, given that we are running out of race, unfortunately, for these guys, as Wilson Dilks just continues to dominate up the front. Marco Holt now up to 7th, meanwhile, and possibly soon to be up to 6th with Harry Payne in front of him, quite potentially riding a little bit angry. We know that when Marco Holt rides angry, he rides on another level and up the inside. Oh, that is masterful. That is wonderful from the 58. Marco Holt with a brilliant move up the inside, and that moves him now up into P6. And again, a recovery ride after a tiny mistake, just bit too much throttle at the penultimate corner, left him down and out. But man, oh man, what a ride he is having. And what a ride as well, it must be said, for Wilson Dilks. Yes, he's been a bit untouchable since Holt went down, but he's still put in a mighty ride.
He has, and this is all for Wilson Dilks as well, to learn, push his bike to where he needs to its limit, to hold on to that position out in front. Here he is, our race leader now, coming round past Paddock Corner, coming into those final corner, getting ready to come out onto the start-finish straight and start this final lap. And it is, here we are, here is Wilson Dilks beginning his final laps. I think he is just about to lap Jamie King there. Brilliant stuff from Wilson Dilks on his final lap. And there he is, he's lapped Jamie King, just pushing his way past the traffic, holding his lead. He is firm and steady in this lead in this race today.
Oh, that's going to be heartbreaking for the hometown hero, Jamie King, getting lapped at your own circuit. But it's got to be said, Wilson Dilks, he's different gravy. He is just a talent sent to us from above. He is really something special and really someone that could be going a long way in bike racing as he rounds the penultimate corner. Yes, he may have had it easy the second half of the race, but it's still the ride of a lifetime, and you can see how hard he was pushing. Wilson Dilks, a sigh of relief as he crosses the line and takes race number 1 in the amphibian scaffolding Extreme 200s. Henry McCartney brings it home in P2 as Finley Pole Hill rounds out the podium. Great to see him straight up onto the podium places as he returns to FAB-Racing in 2025. But Wilson Dilks, he withstood early pressure and then got a move on, got a lap record to boot as well, takes a fantastic win with Henry McCartney in P2. Finley Pole Hill was 3rd, Harrison Day P4. Travis Shaw finished 5th, Mark Holt able to recover to 6th place with Harry Payne in 7th, Taylor Tomlinson in P8, Filip Sorowiak, British Talent Cup Championship leader P9, and Logan Cousins in P10. And yet, you have to see it, Jamie King a lap down, P13. We do give him a tough time, to be fair. We do like to take the mick with Jamie. He's a good friend of ours, but yeah, that is tough going for the 76.
It is indeed. Here they are now, just coming off the track, coming back into the holding area after that first race finish. Oh, hi, Grandad. We are now coming into our final race of today. It is the MK Mini GP50R race, and it is our final race of the first day here at Ellough Park. It's going to be absolutely brilliant stuff to see from them. 12 laps overall for these guys. Brilliant stuff.
Yes, it will be indeed. Should be really interesting to see how this new class gets ready and all unfolds. And of course, who else would it be starting from pole but Sebastian Gazlowski? The boy's been untouchable so far in 2025, and he continues to push onwards. Now, this class is where it gets interesting, especially in this round. Of course, new for 2025, the Mini GP50R. It's available to either Metrokit Mini GP50s, as we see in the Mini GP50 category, funnily enough, with an upgraded carb. A bigger carburetor on the engine allows it a little bit more grunt. And the reason that's allowed is that in this class, it is also allowed to run a Varley 140s and 160s. So those four-stroke Varleys, which are a little bit quicker naturally than Metrokit 50s, they're allowed in. And some riders do like to ride them here. Some riders just like to, stick the bigger carb on the Metrokit, and away they go. Interestingly, last time out, the Metrokit seems to be on top. Lid, it's a circuit where you're very much right at the top of the rev range. You're using that two-stroke power. Here, there's a couple of places I think the four-stroke Varleys might have the advantage using that grunt out of the corners.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to watch and see what happens. They're just making their way round now to the grid, ready to get going on their
is that issues for Bradley Curtis?
That is indeed. That is the 71 of Bradley Curtis. Seems to be struggling there as they're coming round to form the grid, ready for their outlap. Just have to wait and see what's going to happen here. He hasn't made it very far at all. I guess all the other riders coming round to the grid. Someone's giving him a bit of a push there, see if they can get him going, but we'll see what will happen there. He has stopped at the side of the track, waiting to see what's going to happen.
That's not a marshal either. That's someone who's actually jumped over the fence of the track to try and help them. So kudos to them for trying to give them a bit of a hand. But I'm sure those down at the front of the pack know what's going on. As Curtis gesturing to the crowd, to the marshals, to the flag marshal, wondering what on earth is going on. Again, that bike, its gearbox was in pieces this morning. It got repaired. We saw him with issues in the race earlier on in the 50s, and it could be more issues now as well. As there is Chief Mechanic / Dad having a look, seeing if they can get it going again. As it does now start up by the sounds of things, and it is now running on its own power. So hopefully Bradley Curtis will be in this race. I'm going to say that tentatively because reliability-wise, it has not been the 71's day today.
No, it hasn't. You are right, Ross. We'll have to see what happens when they do the outlap and then get ready and to actually start the race officially. They're starting on their outlap. Let's do a run-through of our riders' form in today's grid. In pole position, we have Super Seb Sebastian Gazlowski. Second place, we have Mason Fedrick. In third place, we have Frankie Watson. Fourth place, Matthew Thomas. Fifth place, Bradley Curtis. In sixth, we have Josh Perkins. Seventh, Tommy Keats. Eighth, Jensen Ansell. Ninth, Emilio Pereira. 10th, Caelan Ratcliffe. 11th, Nicholas Dunwoody. 12th, Kai Hawken. And making up our final grid position in 13th is Oscar McAllister. I think we've got a very interesting race on our hands with these guys here. They have all been very competitive already today, those that have been competing in other series. So let's see what's going to happen.
Should be really, really interesting, of course, that Varley against Metrokit comparison. Interesting that Sebastian Gazlowski starting on an Varley as well. We were talking to them and his family earlier, and they were saying they hadn't done any running on the Varley whatsoever this weekend. They did the qualifying on the Metrokit, managed to get pole on the Metrokit, but they were saying, we think race-wise, it might just be worth jumping in on the Avali and seeing what's happening, even though they haven't done a single lap round here this weekend. Will that backfire? It's possible. Will it be an inspired move? We'll have to wait and find out. It's all eyes to the lights. Kozlowski on pole, Fedric alongside. It is lights out and we're underway. Good start by both of the front runners there, but it will be Fedric with the inside into turn one, and who does inherit the lead of the race as he slides on by. But Kozlowski immediately tries to fight back, doesn't quite come into fruition. It will be the 5 early doors that takes the lead from Kozlowski, and Frankie Taylor in P3, or Frankie Watson should I say, in P3. Just behind him Matthew Thomas as well, so they're all holding on to their early order so far, and there is a rider down there in the background, possibly Nicholas Dunwoody. That's gone down on the exit of turn 3. No, in fact, it's the 22. That'll be Jensen Ansel. He started P8, but he's back on the bike and able to get going again. Up the front, though, Mason Fedric. Dream start for the number 5 as he takes the lead. It
was absolute brilliant start from Mason Fedric starting this race. Just coming round now to start the second lap of this race. Mason Fedric is leading ahead of Sebastian Kozlowski. Super Seb is not going to be the happiest with that. He's going to fight and try and take back that first place. Following them in third is number 14 of Frankie Watson, with the 71 of Bradley Curtis behind him. Matthew Thomas is running in fifth. That makes out our top 5 at the moment. Here we are, Mason Fedric leading ahead of Sebastian Kozlowski in this Mini GP 50R race. Forming a bit of a gap, those two are ahead of Frankie Watson. This is a battle between them two for first place, and they don't want anybody else getting involved.
Absolutely. I must stand corrected. It must be said it is the Metrokit GP50 that Sebastian Kozlowski is running on, so he didn't make the switch. Is running on the bike that he's been running all weekend on. But again, maybe that was the wrong decision, because once again, we are now seeing an Avali in front of him, and he's not quite able to get back through, but he does get underneath. Fedric at the exit of turn 1, not quite able to squeeze through into turn 2. Again, you just don't quite get the grunt out of the corner with that 2-stroke engine. All of the power's at the top of the rev band. You just got to be banging off the limiter, basically, in order to be quick with a 2-stroke. With a 4-stroke, it's so much more reliable on lower revs and just gives you immediate power, immediate torque out of corners. And maybe that's where Kozlowski's struggling, just on the exit of corners. Yes, it was a great run out of turn number 1, but couldn't get up the inside, just didn't have the grunt down the straight.
No, he didn't. 10 laps left to go in this Mini GP 50R race. Mason Fedric leading ahead of Sebastian Kozlowski. On our screens right now, we can see the number 71 of Bradley Curtis leading ahead of the 47th of Matthew Thomas and the 30 of Josh Perkins. A little battle going on between those guys there for 4th position. Running in 3rd place, we have the number 14 of Frankie Watson at the moment, who is trying to keep up with Mason Fedric and Sebastian Kozlowski. Has Sebastian... Yes, I do think he could have...
Yeah, Mason back to the lead.
Sebastian Kozlowski, the number 64, has taken the lead back from Mason Fedric. Super Seb leads once again with 9 laps left to go. He's building a gap up now. Mason Fedric not quite able to keep up with him just at the moment, but he could pull everything he has out of that bike and catch up with Super Seb.
Nice stuff there from Kozlowski, back to the lead after losing it at turn 1 on the opening lap. And look at that, super focused, not even glancing back. Doesn't need to check and see if Fedric is close, if Fedric's trying to get... Oh, Fedric's chain's off! Fedric's lost his chain, he's out of the race! Wow, what a sudden turn of events. Frustration for the number 5 of Mason Fedric, and understandably so. As the chain comes off the number 5, that'll be... Or is it the chain? No, it's not the chain, it's actually... Is that the kickstand or something? Well, something hanging off. It looked like the chain from a distance, but something hanging off the 5, and that could very much be race over. I think it is. Yeah, I think it's the gear selector that's hanging down there. Bizarre.
That means now, though, Sebastian Kozlowski is leading this race and hasn't really got anybody on his tail at the moment. He can find a comfortable groove, get comfortable with that lead he has, and just fly ahead of everyone else. He did just set a fastest lap of 48.83 8 here in the first race. Brilliant stuff from Sebastian Gazlowski. Running behind him in second is number 14 of Frankie Watson, and currently in third place and making our final podium position is the 71 of Bradley Curtis, who is in a little bit of a battle here with the 47 of Matthew Thomas and the 30 of Josh Perkins. They all know now that third place is up for grabs, and they're not going to let it go easily.
Absolutely, they're going to be on full attack mode now, full push, knowing there is a podium at the end of this race, the final race of the day, here at the second round of the MasterMac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship at Ellough Park. And of course, you'd like to finish the day up on a podium, wouldn't you? Just a nice little treat before you go to bed and get ready for Sunday's action. Of course, 2 more races in all of our classes coming your way Sunday. They'll be live here on Motorsport Radio or on the FAB-Racing social media pages. Make sure you're watching along wherever you are around the world to keep up with all of the action. As we come to a conclusion here on Saturday, though, with 6 laps left to go. Gazlowski now with a healthy breathing room behind him following Fedrick's issues. Frankie Watson in P2 himself with a considerable gap to Bradley Curtis in P3, who we see now the 71 again nearly didn't start this race. Mechanical issues all throughout the weekend, nearly didn't even make it to the grid, had to get a push start to get the thing going. Now potentially on for a podium.
Yeah, now that it's going, it's working for him, and he seems to be quite comfortable. The 47, though, Matthew Thomas, is hot on his tail. He gets closer, but then ends up pulling away a little bit, and Bradley Curtis is holding on to that third position. He is hungry to be on a podium, finishing on a podium on the first day of our race weekend. Brilliant stuff we are seeing here. 5 laps left to go. Sebastian Gazlowski leading, flying ahead of everybody else, but we are still watching the battle going on here for third place between Bradley Curtis and Matthew Thomas, and Josh Perkins looking to get involved in the action on occasions. Brilliant stuff we are seeing from these guys. Matthew Thomas going to try, and he cannot quite keep up with Bradley Curtis on the 71 and make the move, either going on the inside to try and get third place from him. 4 laps in total left to go of our first Mini GP50R race here at Ellough Park. That is the number 71 of Bradley Curtis, still holding on to that third place. This battle has been going on between these guys for the vast majority of the race. Bradley Curtis doing some proper defending there, holding on to that position while Matthew Thomas hunts him down.
Yeah, getting really tied out on the racetrack. Nothing to separate the pair of them. As they head through, it will still be Curtis that leads ahead of Thomas as they go on to 3 laps left to go, but maybe doors slightly open there for Thomas, should I say, as Curtis made a small error when he tipped in, and this time Thomas to the inside. Oh, super close between them. That is brave stuff. Still not done though. Curtis back to the inside, up and under maybe for Thomas. Somehow, Bradley Curtis holds on to P3. Man, oh man, racing at its brilliant best between the pair of them. Matthew Thomas ain't done yet though. He's going to push this all the way to the end. The 47 was in front for the briefest of moments, and now has to go again, has to set it up again, has to move again. It was all started by a mistake from Curtis down into turn 1, penultimate lap of the race in this battle for the final podium places. Is it another opportunity for Matthew Thomas? I don't think so this time. No, this time he'll stay, but that was proof that Matthew Thomas has what it takes to get up into the podium places. He just needs to launch another attack and get it done again. Huge wobble on the front end. This time he gets it done. Brilliant move.
We will have to see what is going to happen between these guys here. That 47 of Matthew Thomas now leading ahead of that 71 of Bradley Curtis. He did it. He made the move, got past him, and he's taking that third position away from Bradley Curtis. There is our race leader. 1 lap left to go. Sebastian Gazlowski. Oh, big off there.
Is that Bradley Curtis? Not Bradley Curtis, should I say? Is that Matthew Thomas who's gone down? Yes, it is. The 47 who just made a ferocious move, now down at the final corner. The bike looks okay. He is up. Those are the most important things, but frustrating there for him. But coming to the end, the 64, Sebastian Gosławski, untouchable once again. Nobody else inside, he can cruise on home. But sheer focus, sheer commitment, sheer willpower from that young man who has been phenomenal so far this season and gets into round 2, continues it with a bang. Sebastian Gosławski dominates the opening race of the Mini GP 50R class. And man, oh man, the celebrations there show you how much that meant. He's coming to 2025, a boy possessed, and continues his hot streak. It was Frankie Watson who comes home in second place. Bradley Curtis rounds out the podium places. Josh Perkins finishes 4th. Tommy Keats is set to finish 5th. Matthew Thomas should just about hold on for P6, I believe, if he's able to finish following that incident. Nicholas Dunwoody 7th, Caelan Ratcliffe P8, Kai Hawke in 9th, and Austin McAllister in P10. But man, oh man, what a race we just saw there. Such a shame that Matthew Thomas went down and robbed us of that fantastic battle with Bradley Curtis to the end. But Sebastian Gosławski, once again, the man of the moment here.
He always is, isn't he? Super Seb, and I think that nickname's really going to stick now. But it could all change again tomorrow. We've got another 2 races for each of the classes coming tomorrow. And it'll be very interesting to see how these guys battle, how Matthew Thomas copes when he's... and hopefully doesn't have an incident like he did again today.
Yeah, that was a real shame for Matthew Thomas. I mean, the conditions today, it's a bit warm. The track maybe a little bit too hot for optimum conditions. A few people just having, I don't want to say schoolboy mistakes, but just really simple offs that you really shouldn't expect these guys to be having. So maybe they'll have to reset, go again in race 2 and 3 tomorrow. That brings an end to Saturday's coverage then of the second round of the MasterMac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship here at Ellough Park. And Izzy, your first day of racing here at Ellough Park done and dusted. How's it been? Pretty special, I'm assuming?
Yeah, pretty special. I think this track is going to have a bit of a special place to me. It's been brilliant all day today, so unexpected, but absolutely amazing stuff we have seen from every rider involved today.
Yeah, we've had some superb action everywhere you look in all of our 10 races today. And guess what? 20 races coming your way tomorrow. Race 2 and 3 from all of our classes to look forward to. Of course, it'll be live at the same place, either here on Motorsport Radio. If you're listening in as well on Motorsport Radio, hello to you. Or on the FAB-Racing social medias or YouTubes or however you are viewing this. But that is it for today's experience. Hope you've enjoyed today's racing. Let us know if what happened you thought was going to happen, or if maybe it was all a bit of a shake-up. And make sure you like, share, subscribe, and help get FAB-Racing out there. Help get these young riders, get their names on the map, and help cement British motorbike racing onto the world stage. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow for all of our race 2s and race 3s.
Road to MotoGP.
1, 2, 3.
FAB-Racing Minibikes British Championship.